I like how I chose to start the stream here because I like the spot and I like the music that you can vibe to here. And then for the last 5 minutes, I've been sitting here, and the music not 5 minutes, but then there's no music. The game just doesn't want to play the music that I enjoy here. So, anyways, hi, welcome to the stream, whether you be a live viewer or a VOD watcher. Oh, there's the music. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay. I'll get straight into explaining the title shortly here. I'm just going to let some people join in on my live stream. And hello, people's joining. And I'll explain right away, like, why, I'm making this statement that I am about Cloud Retainer. I really, really like this character. Whoops, I gotta exit the camera. Oh my god, okay. Angles. Yeah, look, it's an anime camera angle. Perfect. This is what we're gonna have the whole stream on. Why are her feet in the ground? Fake video game. Low quality. Anyways, immediately distracted. So, yeah, we'll be testing some Xianyun things today. Probably, well, I don't know. I guess I could test DPS Xianyun things. The reason I haven't done anything with DPS Xianyun yet is because I don't have her skill leveled up in particular. Well, I would like to get her skill and her normal attacks to level 10, probably, before I do DPS Cloud Retainer things. I definitely don't think the DPS Cloud Retainer video will hopefully be out this week, right? Sorry, not this week, like next weekend. But, the basic premise of that video is going to be like, you don't need freaking C6 to DPS Cloud Retainer, I think. You probably, sorry, I just had like some crap, I don't know if you heard it in my throat. You do probably want C6 Farazan, though, to do DPS Cloud Retainer, realistically. Like, yeah. So, anywho's, isn't it kind of sus you got distracted by her feet? I got distracted by her feet being in the ground. Anyways, okay, already off track. So, just to get it out of the way, and explain the basic premise of being like, I think Cloud Retainer is one of my favorite characters, but she isn't necessarily someone I can just recommend ever. And the simple reason for that is because, like, her generic utility as a limited 5-star that is a supportive unit, and that is an animo character, she's not as useful compared to like other animos, right? I think Jean on a generic animo healing level has more utility with just like a generic healing level goes. But of course, Cloud Retainer has her plunging gimmick, right? So, point being is that Cloud Retainer, I'll go more into details of like some further thoughts. But my simplified thoughts is that I can't recommend her because if you don't have a plan for what you want to use for her gimmick, there's like no reason to use this character, is my general feeling thus far. She is her plunging gimmick, right? And other than that, she has value for overworld, right? Like being able to do this constantly is good, but without her C1, which is what, most people are going to have her C0, she doesn't do that as much, so it's not necessarily that much of a value add compared to Yelan. With C1, I think she's got one of the best movement abilities of any overworld character, because you can do this very, very constantly. Like, there's only usually 4 or 5 seconds downtime at most, and then you can do it again. So, and it has vertical control and, over the ground control of speed and blah, 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 blah. So, she has overworld value, is my point, but not necessarily crazily more so than many characters have overworld value, right? And it is her gimmick that makes her interesting. This team will probably show up, by the way, in a video tomorrow. I can show a little bit of it this stream, but basically it's plunge DPS, electrocharge Candace with Fischl and Farina. But yeah, so point is, Cloud Retainer is before she is a buffer. Cloud Retainer is an enabler first, right? So she enables you to do her the plunging gimmicks with any characters you want. She enables a new playstyle for existing characters. How much better that is than existing ways to use these characters is very up in the air and very situationally contextual based on that character, the exact team you're using them in, a lot of different random characteristics, potentially the enemies you're against, right? Because plunging inherently requires going near an enemy. So, like, I really like Cloud Retainer with Yai, for example. I'll probably showcase some of this in this video. But basically, you know, one of Yai's upsides is her range damage. So if I'm doing plunge Yai, that means I have to get close to the enemy to deal damage to them with the plunge attack, right? That's a downside. I mean, Yai is still doing range damage, but it means I now have to play Yai close to the enemy, which kind of removes one of the potential upsides of Yai, which is that I can like have defensive utility by the nature of not being close to the enemy, right? And like that's one of the things I really like about the Yai Tignari combo. It's a team combo that I've been able to use Yai and Tignari with no healers, just by nature of being able to do the entirety of the team's damage from range, essentially, right? So Cloud Retainer is an enabler first, right? So the point is I don't recommend this character unless you have a plan, like have something in mind that you want to use her gimmick for. If you don't want to do the plunging gimmick, I don't get the point. For someone like me, she's perfect because for me, what I love about Genshin is having characters that enable new and different things to play around with, right? Like, plunge DPS Candace, I'd say, in general, DPS Candace is hard to make use of without C6. Her damage in the traditional sense just makes sense with like an emblem build with her C6. And without her C6, is you have various degrees of like, okay, you can make her just fun if you like her, but you're gonna probably struggle to clear Abyss with her. This team uses, you know, a DPS build on Candace, and this is obviously a fairly strong build, and it uses Fischl, and I cleared Abyss with ease with this team. And was 70% of the damage, you know, Fischl and Frina? Probably, but having the extra plunge Hydra application from the fact that Candace gives herself infusion. You know, Candace was getting about 40 to 50,000 damage in plunges with level 6 talents here, right? And Fischl is getting extra A4 procs from the nature of having extra Hydra applications happening when Candace is doing plunging, right? So it's taking advantage of the fact that Candace is Hydro. Anyways, I'll have a whole video about it because like I basically wasn't sure what I wanted to do to try to make Candace work with Cloud Retainer. It was basically either this team I thought would be best, Mono Hydro, which is just boring to me, and then the other option, Mono Hydro just be like with Yulon instead of Fischl here, right? And then the other option was doing like Bennett Xiongling instead of Fischl Frina, which I briefly tested in the video, and it worked fine. Like, but Candace has energy requirements that are kind of awkward, so yeah. Just raised Candace's normal attack talent because of Xianyun to 10, nice. So yeah, so basically on like a meta level, right? How much utility does this character bring for what animals traditionally do well? Not much. She's not traditionally great at the things other animal characters are great for. It is kind of all it comes down to, but she's interesting enough for what she enables that I think she's super fun. She's genuinely one of my favorite characters. And yeah, that's kind of all it comes down to, right? So I only recommend her in the specific context of you have an idea for what you want to do with her gimmick, right? And she's the kind of character that I think really starts to only make sense. To be clear, if you're a casual player that's not focused on the combat of the game at all, it doesn't really matter. But she's a character that only really makes sense. Like, if your goal is to try to like clear Abyss and have more options for clearing Abyss, she's not the worst character to go for, but she's not the best character to go for. It is kind of all it goes, and you know, compared to like Kazuha, for example, she's like nowhere near the level of universal utility of Kazuha. It's not even close. And she has problems like the fact that realistically her value is a lot lower if you don't have Frina, because the nature of her flat damage buff, right? So this buff, you know, maximum damage increase in the achieved this way is 9,000 damage. So that is a flat damage buff, which that gets added on top of like whatever multiplier based damage you're doing. So Cloud Retainer's buff does not care about the actual multipliers. It's just, it only cares about her attack in calculating the damage, and then it cares about the character's damage bonus that they have and their crit rate, crit damage. And Frina, by nature of just ignoring the fact that she's Hydra, right? By nature of, one, she has her draining for damage bonus mechanic with her burst, right? That's the whole thing that makes like Frina worth using. And the fact that, you know, you want a healer with Frida means like Cloud Retainer being a healer. Like obviously Cloud Retainer and Frida were made to synergize really well together. So if you don't have Farina, Cloud Retainer's value goes down a lot, I think. I do not think you need Farina to have a team where like Cloud Retainer feels relevant in, but I think it's much harder to get a lot of value out of Cloud Retainer without Farina, and that's definitely a downside. And it's just the nature of the damage bonus, right? Multiplying the buff that you get from Cloud Retainer, and the fact that any on-field unit, when you have Fury on a team, can use 4-piece Marshal Hunters, which means you can get more crit damage, and the more crit damage you have, like this is a 90% crit rate, 200 crit damage build. This is not a feasible, achievable like crit damage amount that you can get on Candace if I was doing, you know, Bennett Xiongling, right? So, and that's one thing I mentioned in the video where I'm like, yeah, so you get Farina enables you to have more crit on your DPS, which is more value from the flat damage bonus. And then she enables you to use, or just to have more damage bonus, which is more value from her buff as well, right? So damage bonus, crit is functionally what Farina gives by nature of enabling this artifact set and her own inherent kit. So yeah, and then she's Hydro too. Okay, I got my throat is full of crap. Let me take some water. And the reason Farina being Hydro is relevant from Cloud Retainer is because the Hydro reactions are strong. Go figure, right? You know, controversial statement there. It's sarcasm. And yeah, like the reason you see so many people focusing on, like I made a video today with Xiao, right? And a big part of the reason I made that video with Xiao is because I already deleted the team. The Vape Xiao team, right? So if you could do Animo Xiao with the same exact team, right? And I showed this in the video. So if you do Xiao plus Cloud Retainer plus where is she? Plus Farina. Yeah, we will witness. And, you know, and then Bennett or Farazan, the last slot here, right? So you can do, if you do Bennett, right, you can do Pyro Xiao. And that's kind of what I showed in today's video, and it was, like, it's not that much, it's situationally worse, I would say. Generally speaking, Animo Xiao is probably going to be better with an invested C6 Farazan for sure. But without Farazan, if you don't have C6 Farazan, right, and you're just doing this team, choosing whether to do Pyro Xiao or Animo Xiao, I think is a little bit situational and down to personal preference ultimately. And depending on like the artifacts you have available too, right, potentially. And the reason this works is not necessarily because like the turning Xiao into a Pyro Vape DPS is obviously to the strengths of the Farina and C6 Bennett and Cloud Retainer core. And that's just because Vape is strong, and because Vape gives you, you know, generally speaking, you're speccing into EM, and the more EM you have, the more you can also, again, double dip in Cloud Retainer's flat damage buff, because EM will scale with the flat damage buff that Cloud Retainer gives, whereas things like attack percent do not, right? Increasing your attack on Xiao does not increase the amount of value you gain from the Cloud Retainer buff, but increasing the amount of EM on Xiao does increase the value you get from Cloud Retainer's buff. So if you can do Vape Xiao, where you're building with an EM, which gives you more scaling from Cloud Retainer's buff, and that's why you can get like the 200,000 level of like Pyro Vape plunges from Xiao, which is a lot higher of a number than he gets with an Animo plunge build. But Animo builds have potential other advantages on Xiao, right? It's not objectively better. I tried to make that pretty clear in the video that I made today. So, you know, it's just cool that it enables, ultimately, again, right? It's Cloud Retainer's an enabler. She's an enabler first and a buffer second. Her buff is an important aspect to her kit and what makes her useful, but she's an enabler first and a buffer second. So the question you need to ask is, what does she enable for you? If you don't have anything you can think of that she enables for you, I don't see why you should pull her. Unless you have no Animo healer and you just want her as an Animo healer for regardless. It's funny, I have the opposite opinion to the title. Do you though? Like, because I really love Farina. Like, I don't know how you can like recommend this character basically without the disclaimer that there's no reason to use her without the gimmick. Like, that's basically all I'm fundamentally saying. It's a relatively simple statement. I recommend her probably to most people who have been playing the game for a long time, but I'm not going to assume everyone watching, and when I'm making statements about, like, oh, how much do I recommend a character or not, I'm not going to make statements like, yes, I openly recommend this because clearly everyone's been playing the game for 3 years at this point. Like, no. Like, I don't know what characters you have. I don't know what playstyles you enjoy. Like, you might just be heck bent on all you care about in life is getting the most value out of your Alhaitham because, you know, you just like something about him. And that's fine. Can you get value out of Alhaitham with Cloud Retainer? Potentially, yes. You could do interesting plunge shenanigans, although notably, one thing that kind of kills Alhaitham's synergy with like doing plunge shenanigans isn't like his multipliers or anything. He does get a pretty high multiplier with his plunge. It's that his passive that gives him mirrors only triggers once every 12 seconds from his plunge. Imagine if that didn't say once every 12 seconds. How freaking good Cloud Retainer with Alhaitham would be. It'd be so fantastic, but sad. Oh well. Anyways, and Anima obviously doesn't buff him meaningfully, so it's something you can do. Don't let me stop you. I would try it if I had them, but anywho's. Yeah, for new players, she's really not worth it. Like, I don't know. It's like weird because I think most new players would feel like they get value out of her. Like, if you don't have many healer options, and like most new players are probably like doing stuff in Overworld, and like, good God, if you start playing, imagine starting playing Genshin now and having all of this to do. Like, you'd get a lot of value out of a character. Oh, my teapot. You get a lot of value out of a character, right? Just for exploration value, like Cloud Retainer. So it's kind of weird. I don't know. I'm just trying to take like the meta perspective of you've been playing Genshin at least for probably some amount of time, and you know, if you only care about exploration utility anyways, then most of the thoughts that about a character's kit specifically barely matter outside of relatively simple things. And yeah, that's why I said she has overworld value, but anyways. So, any comments I miss, I'm going to go through things. And if anyone's joined in and hasn't seen the whole conversation, just, you know, you can rewind and go through and see what my thoughts are. I think I've mostly explained everything. I like how she makes everyone Zhao, and I don't... Oh, you don't like how she makes everyone Xiao. I like he was a standalone. I mean, she doesn't make everyone Xiao. Xiao is still better. Like, to do the plunge DPS, Xiao is still better at that than most characters. I don't think that's really changed. Xiao has become a better character. I think with Xianyun's release, I'm of the opinion that Xiao now has a lot more competent team options to make him work well compared to Wander. So I would say that with Xianyun's release, this doesn't mean you have her, right? So it depends on what you have ultimately. But with Xianyun's release, I kind of think that Xiao is objectively better than Wander. But, you know, especially now that it seems like Farazan is freed, and was obviously a very good buffer for Xiao, especially with C6. Farazan being freed from being tied to, you know, Wander's banner, like the likes of Sara or Goro are tied to Ito and Raiden or whatever. Since she's no longer, presumably, hopefully, no longer tied to Wander's banner, that makes Farazan a lot easier to acquire over time for Xiao players. And that's good. Oh, this is here now. Yay. Free wishes. So, yeah. Let's go do commissions, I suppose. Would a new player have value simply from exploration? Yeah, that's what I said. I'm just saying on a meta utility value. And the problem with I don't know, I'm not going to say not to pull it if you're a new player. Because if you're a new player, honestly, I'm of the opinion you're gonna live. You only learn what you like in Genshin by polling for characters, and like I don't regret like the earliest 5 stars I pulled for on my main account on this account, right? Were Xiao when I first started playing, and Ganyu. These are the first 2 limited 5 stars I got, and I never used them. But I would not say I regret them. Getting these characters early on helped me understand what I enjoyed about Genshin, right? They were an important factor towards me enjoying the game, and I enjoyed using them a lot early on. It's just, like I crowned her normal attack. I didn't even realize I did that. And it's just a situation where, like, I'm not going to specifically say any character is someone you shouldn't pull for if you're a new player, is my point, right? Because chances are you're just going to get value out of having new characters to play with. And by nature of her having exploration value, she has potentially slightly higher value even to new players. But as far as like long-term value, as far as evaluating this character's kit relative to other characters' kits available, how valuable is she, right? And not that much more valuable than a lot of other characters might be for you if you are a new player. Like if your goal is to, clear Abyss, and like invest in the smart to invest in characters as far as like how useful are these characters. Cloud Retainer is a very unnecessary character, but she's super fun, in my opinion, for being able to get more value out of the... I'm going to switch to a non-Farina Cloud Retainer team to get more value out of the characters you have. Like, this team here, right? This is a team where if I swap Fischl for Farina, to be clear, the team is slightly better. But I also have C2 Farina, right? Which makes me get stacks faster, which is probably an aspect to it feeling better. But basically, using Cloud Retainer to Yai, in my opinion right now, is the most fun way to do an on-field Yai. So I'll try to show why here in a little bit, but let's claim my expeditions before I forget. Dispatch, okay. Though you're paying for full 4 stars, saw the video today. Remember trying to get Sarah Constellation, just missed. Surprising this banner. You got 2 more copies of Nihilus C2. Nice. Her C1 is literally so good, up to 3 skills, not just 1. Yeah, that's kind of what I tried to illustrate in the wishing video, was like, oh, her C1 with nature of the cooldown reduction makes it so like, yep, there you go. Now you get 3 skills in a very short order for Overworld. Like it's this console, I wouldn't necessarily just wish for it. Please, for the love of everything, don't just like let my enthusiasm for this constellation bait you into wishing. Like, be smart with your wishes. That's the whole point I was trying to illustrate with my mistake with the Cloud Retainer Farazan wishes, was that if I had been smarter in the past, I could have avoided having to spend money, right? And that's that's a significant difference maker. So, disclaimer out there, don't use this as like, oh, you need to dump all your wishes into this banner. But good lord, I really like this C1. So yeah, if I had realized it would be as fun to use as it is, like this character's freaking, oh man, like unless I get really sick of the skyward scatter, I don't know if this character's ever leaving my overworld party. I've felt that to a similar degree with Yelan, but she's better than Yelan as far as like her utility for jumping around and doing things in overworld, and it's as simple as just for doing dailies, or for doing more in-depth exploration, right? So yeah, this constellation one, man. it's like, oh boy. So yeah, for what it's worth, is real good. I like it a lot. They do math for ER requirements of Xiao, Xianyun, Farazan, Farina with 2 Favs. If you have 2 Favs on the team and you have 3 anima units, anyone other than Farina shouldn't be very energy hungry. It is what it comes down to. So like this was definitely more ER than I needed. I have this weapon, so functionally that's another 50% ER on top of that, right? This was more ER than I needed for Xianyun, Farazan, and Xiao. And Xiao himself, right, you saw, if you watched my video, had 116% ER with, I don't know if he's actually on the anima build. Yeah, he is. He had 116% ER, right? And that's good. Go figure. Good enough with 3 animals on the team, and Farazan generating a whack ton of particles. So if you don't have Farazan C6, then it's a little bit different, because she generates this constellation generates her a lot of freaking energy without even having to use her skill. So Farazan, like with C6, this was, I think, more than enough energy recharge to get her burst back too, right? In some teams, Farazan would want more ER than this, and yeah, so it's just you have 3 animal units. It means you're going to generate a lot of animal particles. Means your ER needs are not very high. Freena's ER needs as a solo Hydro. With the Fabs on the team would help, but she'd probably have around 200%, so this would be much more than necessary. So around 200% energy recharge is my guess for Freena, and that's probably the most notable one. Alright, into DBI. Do.
Looks like I went too far.
Do. Thinking about Farazan, giving Farazan more damage. I mean, yeah, if you're using Farazan in a triple Animo team, you should definitely spec Farazan into damage as much as you can. So this was the exact build I used in my video, by the way. Like, Farazan's damage contribution to that Xiao team was a big part of the reason why the Animo Xiao team performed as well as the Vape Xiao team. And despite unoptimal play or otherwise in either situation, it's a 2 attack, 2 Animo build with 192 ER on Elegy, to be clear. But like this build is not a perfect balance or anything, but this build gets good damage out of Farazan herself in a team like that, especially where her ER needs are potentially even lower. Like, I don't even know, do I have it? I think I have an attack percent. Yeah, I do have an attack percent. I just have a decent amount of ER from the weapon, and then a bit from substats, right? So, you know, it's like, for what it's worth. You can. This was the build though in that Xiao video. Okay, whatever. Sure, let's do this. I recommend a good Xianyun team that doesn't use Farina or C6 Bennett. I mean, yeah. I mean, here's this one. So, I can go fight something that, you know, isn't going to die instantaneously. Come on, let me see where this is, and then I'll go teleport and fight Rocky. I'd like to try Vape Kazuha with her. Yeah, Vape Kazuha should work pretty well. You'd probably, I don't know, would you do an attack percent goblet in that context? Because I don't know whether you want to do, I mean, if you want to maximize Kazuha's vape damage, you want to do a Pyro Goblet. If you want to maximize Kazuha's anima damage, the thing is, if you're doing Kazuha with Cloud Retainer, and you're doing a crit build on, how was he invisible? If you're doing a crit build on Kazuha, with Cloud Retainer and C6 Bennett, right? Normally you would do an attack percent goblet, would be my recommendation, so that you can increase both his anima damage and his pyro damage. But in the case of, you know, Cloud Retainer's buff, you don't get any additional value. Like, you're worsening the value you get from Cloud Retainer's buff by not using a damage percent goblet, essentially, because attack percent wouldn't scale with her buff at all. So I think in that context you'd want to pick between anima damage or pyro. Animo might be better, but if you want to see the biggest vapes possible, just use a Pyro Goblet. Regardless of that, like, Kazuha's plunge multipliers, and is going to let you get some pretty big vape damage and some pretty big Animo plunge damage from his skill. So, yeah, it should be pretty good. I might try it eventually. So, wait, why? Oh god, he wants some ingredients. Oh, you freaking... Okay, we're not doing this. Frick that constellation. Frick that commission. So, anyways, this team is one wherein I really enjoy try it without Farina. Fischl has a number of upsides, potentially, as far as like application goes, situationally, whatever. It depends. If you want to put Farina in this team instead of Yai, instead of Fischl, I do think it's probably slightly better most of the time, but I meant to do Cloud Retainer's thing there, but it's fine. Doesn't really matter. So you can see, right, do this. It's kind of hard to see the numbers, to be clear, because, you know, you're plunging. Ow. But stop. Oops. I didn't crit again. So, yeah. Like, the team performs. This dude has a lot of health. He's stuck. Get wrecked. Yeah, the team performs. And I can tell you, I tried this in Abyss with this team on the second side of Abyss, right? So I can go and test this team. I can show you the guys this team in Abyss after we finish dailies here. Someone just remind me. And then I'll show it to you with Farina, without Farina. The Farina variation is better, like, which is not that surprising with how strong of a synergy Cloud Retainer has with Farina. Like, getting that much more damage bonus is a significant difference maker. But it's still more than competent, right? And either variation of them are fun, good ways to take advantage of Yai being on field. And like in this variation, from what I've seen, I get 50 to 60k in plunge damage, whereas with what's her bucket? Oh my God, Len. Okay, I'll address that in a second. With Farina, you get the quick bloom damage, and then I get a little bit more damage from Yai's plunges. But then you lose the potential value that Fischl has and whatever. So, yeah, go figure. Farina's slightly better for this team still than Fischl, but it doesn't need Farina, is my point. So, Len, the 100 freaking euros, you're wild, dude. I think Len is the single person that has given me by far the most money through, like, direct things. I don't even try to, like, ask for them. Because, like, anyway, thank you, Len. C6 Farzan plus early happy birthday because time is a social construct. I'm bribing you to choose my account for the account foxing thing. Was the foxing on purpose? Because that helps. I appreciate that. Plus, I'm doing this now instead of the end of February because by then I wouldn't have 100 euros. Let's have fun with Farzan. Thank you, Len. You know what? Len has given me enough money. I absolutely. You know what? Here, I'll jot a note down, Len. I'm gonna have to find you in the giant list of people who have submitted for account fixing. Len account fixing video. I'll have to find your submission in there, but I'll reach out to you, Len. You paid for it, so I appreciate that. And if Xianyun is playing Gaming, and Gaming Bennett, Farina, and Jean good, yeah, it should be fine. I don't think Gaming needs Xianyun. He gets more value out of her. Like, he does plunge damage. Obviously, he likes plunge damage buffs, but I don't think Gaming needs her. Gaming isn't like insane or anything, by the way, but without C6, he becomes, I'd say, properly a very competent unit, but that's a C6 4-star, so, I think he's very fun at lower constellations, but he's not fundamentally that different in actual performance from someone like Diluc, so it's just like, do you want to use him because you like how he feels to play, versus using someone like Diluc. I would rather play Gaming than Diluc because I think he feels a little bit more fun in my very initial impressions, but just on feel. I haven't actually meaningfully tested damage. So, yeah, I still do account fixing things. I'm just busy with other Cloud Retainer things and whatever right now. So, I hopefully will reach out to someone, maybe Len, I guess, to do an account fixing video for next week is my hope. My plan for the next weekend is to probably do DPS. Speaking of, let's go farm the materials. To do a DPS Cloud Retainer video with C6 Farzan, and then I'll do... what's it called? Having a stroke. Probably an account fixing video as well. And in that video, I was going to make a dedicated video to be like, hey, you need me to fix your account? Use this Google form. But instead, I'm just going to mention it when I do the next video. So yes, I will do account fixing things, and I'm probably not going to do account reviews because I think account fixings are more of an interesting context to take when it comes to like looking at someone else's account, even if they're relatively similar. Ow. Bro, stop. I should have waited to do that, but oh my god, this. Okay. Didn't even get to do a single plunge because enemy's too squishy here. They interrupted me 20 times and I didn't even hit them once with a plunge. Discord, name of Discord is name.txt. Feel free to, ooh, I just got 2 golds. Feel free to message me, Len, if I forget. Aren't you overloaded on account fixing form already? I mean, yes, but I'm never not going to be overloaded. Assuming I'm still making account fixing videos, I'm obviously going to plug the account fixing form every video. and ultimately it's just going to be like I have to go through the form, and I'm going to mention it in videos because people are going to ask like, how do I get my account fixed, right? So like I'm not gonna stop people, but yeah, that's part of why the fact that I already have like 100 submissions in it is why I didn't I decided not to make a video on it. I wanted to make a video on it because I was gonna like explain my overall perspective on why I wanted to make those kinds of videos and blah 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 blah, and why I made the form like the way, screw you, and why I made the form the way I did, blah 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 blah. But I chose not to because I didn't want to I didn't want, if the video gets like 10,000 views, which is not that many views, and then it gets, you know, how many of those people would I don't know, let's say 1% of 10,000 people. What is that? 1%, I can math. That's another 100 people, right? That's, I don't know how many people would submit to it, but like the video would have been structured like, hey, need your account fixed? Watch this video kind of thing. Presumably more than 1% would submit, but it would have at least more than doubled the amount of people in the submission list, and I just like, I don't need that many more people in there right now. It's going to be a problem in the future regardless, so. Is it worth polling for her if I don't have Farina and Nahida? Nahida I don't think is that specifically important to Cloud Retainer's value, but Farina does give meaningfully different value. I really, yeah, I don't know. Like it's obvious that she was very much made in conjunction with Farina's buff. You just get a lot more. You see the most noticeable value out of the way that she buffs by nature of Farina existing, and Farina is a very useful character to have for Hydra application and like the things that Hydra are useful for, on top of her synergy with Cloud Retainer being a competent team-wide healer and having a buff that synergizes with Farina's buff, right? So yeah, I like, you're gonna have way more team options that feel competent with Cloud Retainer with Farina than without Farina, right? And there's a very good chance even the teams where Cloud Retainer feels like a pretty decent option without Farina, like this one for example, this team still is better with Farina. I think there's reasons to use Fischl over Farina in this exact team, but it kind of depends. So, anywho's, yeah, Nahida is not really necessary for Cloud Retainer to any particular degree. Nahida is a good character, very good character, but not, doesn't have any direct specific synergy with Cloud Retainer in particular, other than the fact that Dendro teams are good in general. So, was the best 5-star that's not Kazuo and Yelan, because I already have them? That's a weirdly specific question. The best 5-star that's not Kazuo and Yelan. Dia, no. So to be clear, this is a statement I'll probably be making. I am making in the a very like neutral, what is the chance that you feel like you get value out of this character if you pull for them? I would probably say Farina personally. I like, if you're using Farina for her buffing, like Farina is the best we've gotten in this game for a Bennett replacement, right? Like, if you're someone who's like, I'm sick of seeing Bennett used everywhere, and I know like Bennett and Farina get used together, it's go figure, right? But Farina is the strongest potential unit that gives a tier of buff that's similar to Bennett, and makes team building interesting and opens up a lot of different options for doing things that I personally think it would be Farina. But Nahida, wait, did you say Nahida? No, Kazuo and Yelan. Nahida is realistically probably better because she's simpler and takes less investment. So my personal vote would be Farina. You know, since you excluded Kazuo and Yelan, I would actually put Yelan lower than Farina and Nahida personally, but yeah, I would say Nahida, Farina, other than the two you mentioned, is the obvious ones. But ultimately, it's going to be down to personal preferences and what kind of things you like playing with. Farina's also not Circle Impact, true. Very true. Very important. Thoughts about Nahida C2? It's unnecessary. As someone who's had Nahida C2, I really wish I didn't get it. It's like, it was very fun for a long time. I was going back and forth on making a video that was basically talking about my thoughts on Farina C2 after having it for so long. And maybe I just should make this video now, because I'm sure some people might, just like I got baited by Nahida C2 on Nahida's first banner. Some people might be baited by Nahida's C2 right now. I'm pretty confident I could say I do regret her C2 now. And the reason is it's just so unnecessary. It's just, Nahida herself at a baseline is such a significant improvement to most teams that you would consider putting Nahida in, that adding in an additional like 20%, you know, probably 10 to 20%, depends on the team, you know, making Bloom's crit, making, you know, hitting the defense shred is like, it's just unnecessary. It's more sensible to, like, if you always play Nahida with Yai and you want Yai's damage to increase, it makes more sense to go for Nahida C2 over Yai C2, to be clear. Like, it's a more valuable constellation for improving teams' damage than most, you know, DPS units constellations are, because they are selfish constellations that only benefit themselves. Nahida C2 can benefit other characters. It is a more valuable constellation than other constellations in the game, to be clear, but it's so unnecessary. Nahida C2 would be a far more useful constellation on Baiju. The reason being is because there is no other like unit at a baseline that gets close to Nahida's level of utility for Dendro teams. Basically, this is not 100% universal, but most Dendro teams, if you're not using Nahida for a Dendro team, chances are using Nahida in that Dendro team improves that Dendro team very significantly without constellations. And therefore, in the context of Dendro teams without Nahida, which you would have if you want to play a Dendro team on the other side of Abyss, for example, because you only have one Nahida, you know, other Dendro units are still relevant. So, like, I have a problem on my main account wherein, like, I'm usually just, like, if I wanted to do two Dendro teams, it's like, okay, what am I sacrificing, right? And the relative value that like Baiju would gain from something like if Baiju had Nahida C2 as one of his constellations or whatever, then Baiju would gain more relative value in teams where he's relevant, even though his application is still much worse. The fact that he would be increasing damage that much more would bridge the gap of like supportive relevance between Baiju and Nahida. Whereas like Nahida C2 just makes the gulf between Nahida's utility in Dendro teams and other Dendro units even wider than it already is at a baseline. It's so unnecessary. It is my general impression. So, yeah. Any plans on main DPS C6 Farazan? Yes, but it's probably gonna take a while. It's basically just, you know, doing, right, DPS Farazan is basically just doing this no. Oh, sorry, I haven't done Noel with Xianyun yet. I should try that. Someone remind me to do that. Oops, I just clicked on OBS by accident. Where's my mouse? There it is. So this team, this is the team I plan to do for, I named it Peregrine Falcon, which if you know what a Peregrine Falcon is, you probably understand why. So this is my plan for crit DPS Xianyun. Remove Xianyun from here and then put, you know, Marshall Hunter's artifacts on Farazan, leaving Farazan on field, right? And you can do like some charge attacks with Farazan's skill. Farazan, if you're doing charge attacks with her skill, should have like quite low energy needs on field. And then for the last slot, I don't know. Plunging obviously isn't relevant for Farazan because she can't do animo damage from plunges. So I haven't thought specifically about what I would do on Farazan here. Maybe I do Fischl now that I think about it, right? If I do DPS Farazan with Fischl, and then maybe actually instead of, because Farazan has a 6-second skill cooldown, and you can do, with her C1, no, in particular, you can do 2 faster charge shots, right? So the thinking would be do Thundering Fury with Fischl. If Farazan is triggering electro reactions, then you can do Thundering Fury, reduce her skill cooldown, which should allow for doing more skills, more charge shots, while you're also still doing, the burst and skill damage. That would be the thinking for main DPS. By main DPS, I mean like on-field DPS. Farazan. I don't know. So I'll try something with it, but the main problem is just talent level investment. So I'm working on it. So I just got some farming to do. It might take a little while, is all. And Cloud Retainer is first because Cloud Retainer is easier. Cloud Retainer by nature of her buffing her own damage with her flat damage bonus means that her own multipliers are less important, whereas like DPS Farazan, her multipliers are much more important. Why HP weapon on Nahida? Because you want to know what's more significant for increasing Nahida's value over like her constellation. The best thing you can do for Nahida to make Nahida even better is make her a healer. To be clear, I didn't really bother using Prototype Amber on Nahida, generally speaking, without Farina's existence. But once Farina released, having a little bit of incidental additional healing has been very relevant. And honestly, even without Farina now that I've used Prototype Amber on Nahida a lot, there's a lot of context where I'm just like, okay, I can configure a team, for Abyss, and as long as I play well enough, right? So let's
go gather some samples.
Let's say I did something like this, right? This team is doing, Yai official aggravate damage and then doing Tignari spread damage, and Nahida has no healer, except if Nahida's on Prototype Amber, it does have a healer, and the team's doing. I mean, you have to like get close to the enemy for a second to put official down, but the team is doing mostly range damage, which has range is defensive utility because you're not hugging the enemy, right? You can spend you're dealing damage while you're spending time away from the enemy, which means you're safer, which means you can get away with just like a little bit of healing, right? This team is stronger than I need it to be most of the time, so oftentimes I don't really like do this kind of team, but it is an option, right? And that's just an example of like, you can get away with Nahida being your only healer. So the way you make Nahida a better unit is by using your abilities for Prototype Amber, in my opinion. Not by getting her C2. Yeah. And she does so much damage, like, and again, I have C2, right? But like, I have a not very highly invested Nahida build. Like, it's fine. It's competent. She has, with the amount of EM she has a little bit under 50% crit rate, I think, with 100 crit damage. It's fine. She does good damage. Obviously she would do a little bit less damage without C2, but like, I could spec her much more into damage, right? And she would do even better, right? It's just like, she's so competent at dealing damage regardless of what weapon you're on, that like, just the value of turning her into a healer is good, and it gives value, by the way, to the fact like she has a really long burst animation. Like, using this burst is situationally annoying as heck because it lasts. I swear to God, it feels like it lasts forever, and you're just it's a Zhongli burst situation wherein the value it gives is sometimes not worth it versus just having smoother rotations that don't have a 3-4 second burst animation to deal with. So, I saw an on-field Shenhe team with Shenhe, Xianyun, Farina, Xianyun. It looks so fun. I plan to do some shenanigans. So, of course, if you've watched my content recently, you know I've been doing some hybrid riding things, right? So, I like hybrid riding, and I'm still using hybrid riding. But this weapon can also be used on Shenhe. It's a polearm, and Shenhe, her buff scales on attack, right? So the idea I have with Shenhe is doing hybrid Shenhe, right? Doing a build like this one. I don't know if I would do well, no, I probably would do. I don't know. I don't know what artifacts that I'm gonna do. I haven't figured that out yet. On paper, Guild Dreams is probably the best as far as damage performance goes. But if I'm using Farina, then I don't know if I'm gonna use Farina. I really gotta mess around with it, but. Doing EM main stat pieces like this one, right? Normally, you obviously want to build attack percent on what's her bucket, Shenhe, but this weapon converts, EM to attack. We're not seeing the bonus to attack. If Raiden was in an actual team, she would have closer to 2,000 attack. And I don't know, triggering the passive because Staff of Scarlet Sands requires hitting enemies with their skill. With the C0 Shenhe that only has one skill charge, I'm skeptical it'll be very good, but I do want to get Shenhe and try to do a hybrid Shenhe that's doing, build her for EM, main stat, timepiece, and goblet. And the idea is she has a bunch of EM, which will increase her melt damage, both if she triggers melt either from doing pyro plunges, so this would be using Cloud Retainer, right? And this is a team where I'm not that confident that I would use Farina, because Farina would potentially, interfere with trying to do damage with Shenhe. So anyway, Shenhe can buff herself with her own buff. If I'm using Bennett C6, Cloud Retainer, and Shenhe, and then the last slot is, I don't know. I'll play around with the last slot. It's enough buffs for Shenhe that I think it'll work pretty well. And being able to have 500 EM like this Hybrid Raiden does. This Hybrid Raiden has 450 EM. Doing a similar build like this on Shenhe should get some really big damage from Shenhe, both pyro damage and cryo damage. So Hybrid Shenhe is something I plan on doing most likely. And that's why I'm not wishing anymore, by the way, because I did continue wishing, by the way, after my wishing video. That's why I only have 1,000 Primo Gems. I did 2 more 10 pulls because I was like, you know what? Because I'm two Gamings away from having C6 Gaming, right? And he's a notably stronger character with C6. I was like, okay, I will risk going to pity because it's not like I would hate having C2 Xianyun, right? And if I lost the 50-50, that'd be fine too. But I was like, okay, I will risk going to pity if I, in the next, 20 pulls after I got C6 Fires on there, I get a Gaming constellation, and I did not. So, yeah, I did 20 more pulls and did not get any more Gaming, so I'm done, sadly. It is all it is, and I'm planning to save for Shenhe. Did Xianyun power creep Wander tremendously? Oh yeah, in my opinion. I don't have Wander to test, but Wander has a very short duration for his zoop forward. So does anyone want to join co-op for what did I just screwed up something here. I used to have Cloud Retainer here or something.
One is fast on one's feet.
Right? Yeah.
Try to
This one.
keep
So
pace.
So if we go to the Mondstadt Bridge, the classic test. Is Catalyst the best weapon archetype for CR, for Cloud Retainer? What do you mean? Oh, you mean if Cloud Retainer was a different weapon type? Is that what you're asking? So, which is better on Kazuha, EM or crit rate and damage? If you're doing Kazuha with Cloud Retainer, it depends what you want to do. I would say chances are EM Kazuha is still going to be better, but if your goal is to see fun crit damage and you're doing C6 Bennett, Farina, Cloud Retainer, and Kazuha, I personally would probably be doing a crit build in that case. But you could absolutely argue that it's still better to still do EM. I haven't done the math to particularly compare them or test them yet. But yeah, I mean, that's something we can test. So I don't know. Okay, let me make a list of things I'm going to test for the stream. So we're going to do Yai non-Farina plunge team. And then that's just something I want to show because, it's a team that uses her without Farina. And Kazuha EM versus crit build with Cloud Retainer. If you're not using C6 Bennett, there's no reason, in my opinion, probably to build crit on Kazuha in that context, by the way, but... So, anyways, if someone wants to try to join my world, you can try with Wander, specifically. And we can try to, compare... And she has another one, so she can go back. I don't even think it's a competition. Can Wander even actually this is interesting. Can we jump across this without having to touch the water? I don't know that Wanderer can do that. He might be able to. He goes very fast, but then, you know, he's got a cooldown that you got to contend with. And the difference is, particularly with Constellation 1 on Cloud Retainer, right? So, like, Constellation 1 Cloud Retainer, absolutely better than Wanderer. I think there's no, not even a competition. So, my world level is too high. Oh, sorry. If YouTube lets you send your UID, I can try to join you if you have Wanderer, Jason. But my friends list is probably full. I'm not gonna go through my friends request list. It's just a mess of different names. So I don't know. Sometimes YouTube doesn't like people sending numbers in chat, so you might not be able to send it. I meant to try to get these dandelions. There we go. I don't need dandelions, but I'm gonna get them. Add Yelan and Sai to this race. What do you mean by Yelan? What does Yelan do? You mean like do DPS, like do on-field Yelan? I haven't done a build that tries to make use, like tries to maximize Yelan C6's damage in a while. Cloud Retainer does nothing for Yelan though, for on-field Yelan. So, because bow characters gain the least from Xianyun specifically, right? You can't really, I mean, you can do plunge official, I guess, if you want, but I mean, like, why? If you're gonna do a physical bow character, just do physical. I need a Wanderer in America server. Yes. So I was just, I don't know, if there's no one that's just gonna join, it's fine. I just figured out of 100 and some people watching, there might be someone with a Wanderer on NA. I should have specified NA, but I figured it'd be funny to compare, right? Like, I'll use my. I think the fairest comparison of like the distance you can travel very quickly with a C1 Cloud Retainer versus a C whatever, it doesn't matter what constellation Wanderer. It would be doing, you know, 3 skills on Cloud Retainer, because that's functional what you get. So like in that amount of time, how far does Wanderer get compared to Cloud Retainer? So like this is the bar. How much in the same amount of time can Wanderer get? I definitely think Cloud Retainer C1 is better. As far as like C0 versus C0, I think Cloud Retainer is still better because of, you know, Wanderer doesn't have the vertical utility that Cloud Retainer potentially has, and like the control that she offers. You can also kind of like Skyrim jank your way up. Like, I say Skyrim jank, but it's nowhere near as janky as Skyrim. But you can like Skyrim jank your way up slope surfaces. So if you have like a slope surface you're standing on like this, you see how she kind of like slides up the surface? That lets you get like a sneakily high amount of vertical height very quickly. And Wanderer can't do that. He just like slowly floats upwards, right? World level's too high? Okay. I mean, I can't really, I don't want to lower my world level, because I'm going to forget to change it back, and that might affect the amount of drops I get from monsters and whatever, so, oh well, it's fine. Is there actually, I guess I could just, how long do you think it would, oh, there we go. I was going to say, how long do you think it would take to get, to find someone that just has Wanderer? Wanderer's a very popular character, probably for his overworld utility, right, so. The difference is Wanderers, of course, is a DPS for Overworld too. As far as like an Overworld DPS goes, I think I don't like Wanderer much on a character level. I dislike him, but it's well known. But I think the main selling point he has is 100% his Overworld utility. He's a very easy, no nonsense on like overworld unit that's useful for exploration and can deal competent damage from range and whatever, and it makes sense. So all right, so how do we, oh wait, there's a thing. I have a gadget to time the race. I will so anyways, yeah. I will stop after I use 3 skills. Try to stop around the same time I stop, so we can caps, whatever, so we can compare the difference.
This is an auspicious era
Okay,
for
I'm gonna stand right here, and let's find gadget. Where I think it's like a party popper, right? Yeah, there we go. Does this have a timer? I don't know if this has a timer. I guess we gotta find out. Is there anything else that could be done? Don't think so. Oh, I didn't. Oops. Yep, Wander's making sounds is the reason I don't like him. All right. I delayed myself a little bit because I whoops, I just accidentally jumped up straightward. Where are they? Oh, they messed up. Okay. Oh, good. I'm gonna delay my launch slightly to time it better. Just go as soon as you see the popper, though. Okay. Xianyun versus Farazan, which is a better support for Xiao? If you're saying C6 Farazan specifically, I think C6 Farazan is better. The main reason being that Xianyun's buff is only a single target, so, you know, then Xiao can be useful in AoE situations, which means the value of Xianyun for Xiao goes down relative to Farazan in AoE situations, and Farazan gets stronger in AoE situations, and I generally speaking consider AoE situations to be usually the context in which it's harder to make teams that perform as well. There's a lot more ways to do competent single target teams. Okay. Use a third guy to act as the start. That is true. I should do that. But oh wait, there's fireworks instead. Oh yeah. Where's the fireworks? There we go. Five seconds. Good, it does have a countdown. Okay. Oh. Oh. Yes, since it actually has a timer rather than just going when I activate it. Oh, I mean, no, do it in game. Not based on the, yeah, it's fine. Okay, let's try again. We got this. Oh, good lord. Parametric transformer, yeah, true. Oh, I could do parametric, but actually no. Parametric causes a UI pop up, I think, on me after it finishes or whatever. So I don't think that would necessarily work. All right, do that.
There's no such thing as pure freedom in this world. Even
And get another skill. Oops, I screwed it up again. Yeah, so by the time I got my 3 skills, Wander was at the end there. And I immediately was ahead of him too. So even with 1 skill. So I think she even has faster forward movement with just 1 skill, right? Because I immediately got ahead of him. I expected Wander was going to get ahead of me for the first skill, but then your skill doesn't last long enough. Yeah, that's what I figured. That's what I figured. The only thing that surprises me was that I thought he was going to get ahead of Xianyun for the initial bout there. So let's try again. But I'm gonna make sure Wanderer goes first, just to make sure there's no like desync on their end. I'm assuming the firework goes at the same time, but I'm gonna make sure they specifically start going first. Yeah, we can try Elan too, I suppose. Well, if they have Elan. I'm just gonna stop after 1 skill, I think. Though. Yeah, so she gets the same amount of distance with one skill as Wander does with one skill, and then with her C1 she just goes ridiculously farther, right? Like, so yeah, C1 is a by nature of sneakily giving you basically 3 skills for overworld with the cooldown reduction, or close to 3 skills functionally, with a couple seconds of waiting. So yeah, so basically same distance at C0. It's very similar, but with C1, substantially better. Sure. Or anyone else can join with Yelan. If anyone else wants to join with Yelan, we can compare her quick. I suspect Yelan is meaningfully slower, because like Wander is fast, right? Like that's one of the main things. Like Wander is his short duration stuff for overworld, but he's very fast, and when I just used one skill there, and I've purposely delayed it until he started going, I still was like landing at the same spot as he was right when his skill was ending. So, like, I'm pretty sure Yelan is going to be slower for maybe slightly farther distance. I think Yelan with one skill will get from here probably to like 3/4 across the bridge, right? So we'll see. We'll do one skill first, and then we'll do the comparison with C1 too. Yes, this is a North America server. Wanderer can go further if wet. Yes, you got to make sure to jump in the water first to make sure you can go slightly farther with Wanderer. Or use Barbara. That's the combo. You got to use Barbara with Wanderer before. But yeah, it's really just the downtime difference to me with C1 versus whatever. What is Wanderer's skill difference? What is Wanderer's? Oh, we're gonna get all the people now. See, more people have Yelan. Yeah. So yeah, exploration theory crafting indeed. All right, Goofball. Do you have C1 Hu Tao? You should compare C1 Hu Tao. I'm joking. All right, let them load in. Is your Yelan C1 by chance? Either any's nice. Okay. Okay, cool. So we will test with just one skill first. Then we will compare to C1 Xianyun with 3 skills. Okay. Well, let's get on the line. Actually, gotta make sure I put the fire thing down. Place. Smelt. Wait, no, not smelt. Okay. Why are they all lined up? Line up on the line.
Knock out the rest of the work once.
Do you guys not want to start from even footing? I'd line up with me to be fair. Yes, all the Yelans. Okay, apparently Zandik is staying. But I can't speak. My throat's so dry. I'm sorry. Blip. Okay, there we go. My throat's fine. I'm fine. Get ready to launch. Begin launching. So I'm just gonna stop after one skill. I should have delayed a little bit, but it's fine. We're kind of comparing distance. Yeah, okay. So this is what I thought. Yep. So yeah, they got about there. So they got a little bit farther with one skill, but in the time. So if I should have kept on dashing until I didn't think of that. I should have kept on dashing. So all right, let's do one skill again. This time I'm gonna dash until you guys start. Or sorry, finish. I will delay my start slightly too. So yeah, there's still some slight delay, it seems like, with the fireworks, which is unfortunate. But oh well. I'll wait until they go. This is what the stream is. I meant to be testing actual, like, you know, kit-based things that weren't just exploration, but... It's the same. Okay, so... And then what is Yolon's cooldown, right? So, the distance for one skill versus one skill is about the same, basically. Which is not that surprising. And her cooldown is 10 seconds. Xianyun's is 9 seconds, so Xianyun should be better, especially in context with the fact that she can go up, right? So even C0 versus C0, I'd say that's better, right? Whoops, I didn't even start. I mean, yeah, we noticed. Doesn't the teapot have a racing gadget? Does it really? That's interesting. This is a kit-based thing. It is a kit-based thing, that's true. Yeah, we're just doing exploration theory crafting. Okay, let's do... Alright, we're gonna do 3 skills now. Okay, I'm gonna do 3 skills now. Just try to stop when you see me stop.
This is an auspicious era for humanity.
Humanity.
I got a new letter from an informant.
Okay.
Looks like the situation has changed.
Ready to launch. Begin. We got 9 plus... Well, it's 12 plus the refund, so it's 9 seconds with the refund. With C0 functionally.
Navigating the world is a whole lot easier with a few different identities to choose from.
Skyward! Skyward! Scatter!
Yeah. Did they stop when... Oh, they stopped too far back. Okay. Yeah. Keep going till I stop. With your dashes or C1 Yolon, if you have it. Nope. I'm stopping with 3 skills. Since you get 3 from C1 Cloud in quick succession. I couldn't type the N, but whatever. So yeah, this is interesting though, because it is interesting to test this though, because it is comparing like the difference of exploration utility from these different constellations, and this is kind of like comparatively showing the feeling I already got with Cloud Retainer C1 just on a like this movement level, right? Let alone the fact that she can jump up, right? And especially when you're going up slopes, she can go up slopes really fast. She can't go like straight up that well, but you know, she can still go up decently well. You just have to kind of like do weird angling shenanigans. But yeah, the ultimate utility, especially with C1, of being able to go very far over the ground and having like going up slopes utility is very high. Okay, let's we gotta place the thing down. You can place a destination ring where you want. Okay, interesting. Laser device rhythmic sprinter set. It records your name on the board. Interesting. I should try to remember to get that in the future. Well, for now, we're just going to continue with this method since it's working. We're almost done here. Okay, begin launch. And I'm waiting until one of them launch. Okay, so Goofball with C1, it wasn't that much worse, right? So it's still ahead though, right? Like it's still better than C1 Yolon, and C1 Yolon is really good for exploration, right? Like that cooldown reduction of 3 seconds doesn't work so yeah. It seemed good enough. Seemed good enough. So yeah, I think that pretty conclusively says even ignoring, right, her going up slopes utility, like getting over like weird, because like even things like minor like this, right? You can't jump over this, right? So when you run up to a ledge like this, you have to like take that second to like climb up. With Cloud Retainer, it's just no, right? And like that subtle little stuff, like little minor slopes like that, and the fact that she just is like, nope, I'm just gonna skippy hoppy right over them. Like, it's on top of the fact that it just seems to be the fastest version, even compared to, you know, traditional units like C1 Yelan being fast and goes far. Yeah. Xianyun power creep exploration, indeed. We should riot. No, I'm joking. Yeah, this character might never leave my overworld team. So anyways, this is... if I had realized any of this, like, with exploration before I got in C1 Yelan, C1 Yelan, C1 Xianyun, I would have been much happier when I got that double 5-star and got this, because I was just like, yay, cool, C1 Cloud Retainer when I got it. But like, no, it's actually amazing. It's great. It's not that useful for combat, but it's so good for overworld that it doesn't matter to me. Anywho's, want to make a Genshin parkour course? I know. I mean, I think Cloud Retainer would defeat that too. Boop. All right. Anywho's, but yeah. Again, not to say like not to say you should pull for C1 Cloud Retainer. Evaluate based on whatever other things you want in the future in your account. Blah 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 blah. But I don't know, Gaming Constellations, if it potentially gets you close or to C6 Gaming, or gets you C6 Farazon, and you happen to get a C1 Cloud Retainer along the way like I did, I think it's a really big upside to continuing wishing on this banner, even if it's not, you know, necessary for her to be useful. It makes a big difference for her overworld utility. Like, she's equivalent to other characters for overworld utility, C0 versus C0, and then she's just a lot better. She's equivalent or better with C0, and then I think she's just a lot better for overworld utility with it. It's kind of what it comes down to. So, yeah. Anyways, thanks for helping test. 'Twas fun. Yeah, I don't think you should pull C1 Xianyun, but you should pull C1 Xianyun. That's basically what I'm saying. I know. I just have to like take a perspective. Like, I know that the things I'm showing might cause people to make bad decisions, and whether or not that is the right decision for you depends on you, right? I don't know. So I just want to be like, if you were planning on getting Chiori, for example, right? You probably shouldn't be wishing for C1 Cloud Retainer, chances are. But if you were someone like for example, if say we were doing this testing with someone else that had C1 Xianyun, and I had not wished for Cloud, or I had not wished for like Farina, I had not wished for Farazon C6, and I had not wished for Farina C2, I would have a supply of like 40,000 Primo Gems probably right now available to me. Anywhere from like 30,000 to 40,000 that I didn't have to pay for, right? And if I had done this testing for the state that my account is in, I would have been like, all right, I'm going for C1. It is kind of my vibe, but that's my account. And if I had been in that hypothetical situation and I hadn't made mistakes, but I already obviously did all these things, and I am the one with C1 right now. So I'm just trying to take perspective of like, I'm getting a lot of value out of this, and I think I will long term, but how much you do is a big ol', it depends. What is this effect happening on the ground right now? What was that? Did you guys see that effect? I have no idea what that was. Was that someone's idol? Oh, was it frickin' her popcorn idol? Is there popcorn idol cause a weird thing on the ground? Okay. So, speaking of Chiori, have you seen her weapon leaks? Yeah, I've seen it. Chiori's underwhelming. That's what I would describe. What about Kirara? Is she faster in her box form? She can also go up walls. I mean, that's a good question. Kirara is interesting in her ability to extend the total distance that you can go up walls. So, oh, that was some weird lag. This update has been causing some weird random, like, occasional stutters for me. It's kind of odd. But, so, like, I'd say Kirara versus... Kirara has some situational potential utility over Cloud Retainer would be my guess. Speed-wise, there ain't no way. Like Kirara speed-wise is not very fast, I would say. But, as far as, like, over-the-ground utility goes, But the ability for Kirara to just glom onto a wall and then go upwards, right, is high. The main thing that Kirara lets you do is go higher than you potentially might with other characters. Because if I recall, it doesn't use stamina, right? Whereas Cloud Retainer, right, and when you're talking these vertical surfaces, since Cloud Retainer can't easily just jump straight up, straight vertical walls like this one, Kirara would be theoretically better at that, is my guess. But is it to an insane degree? I don't know. I don't think there's that many circumstances where you encounter that, where you would need to climb up with Kirara, like this wall here. So, you know, Kirara, yeah, she doesn't use stamina. Or no, she does use stamina. Okay. She still does, she still goes faster, yeah. Like, before, oh, no, I'm kind of stuck because Genshin jank. But, yeah, so, like, you can get up to here easily with plenty of stamina remaining. Whereas, if I just use Cloud Retainer the hair, because this is a straight wall, you know, I'm not really gaining that much advantage from anything with Cloud Retainer here other than a very slight height increase, right? Like I got there immediately, and then now I just have to do the standard Genshin things. But speed-wise, I don't think it's fundamentally that different, which is part of why I don't like bother with Kirara much, is because she's not that much faster at climbing. She just can like make your climbing a little bit more comfortable by the nature of the control of the climbing, wherein you can just, you know, go into cat box form, and then you can move slightly faster when you're not doing this, right? When you are doing this and it's not janking out, because there's sometimes surfaces that janks out, this is that you know, using stamina to jump to the side is just as fast as Kirara in my experience. So, you know, Kirara has very situational utility for her climbing ability. Will Chiori work with Navia? I don't feel like getting much into Chiori this video. I'll probably have a live stream next week talking about Chiori. I was considering talking about Chiori this week. If you want to see my thoughts on Chiori, I have a big pinned comment. Or no, I didn't. Sorry, it's not pinned, but someone can probably find it for you if you join my Discord server. I think Chiori, right, all I'll say right now is I think Chiori is the worst designed 5-star unit of the 4.X patches thus far. She doesn't make sense to me. I don't really get what they're doing with her. She's not, it's not to say she's like total garbage or anything, but yeah, I don't get it. So I'll wait until I like judge her more properly in case she gets changes or anything. So yeah, we'll see. I don't want to be too negative in this stream. I would rather be, you know, here's all the things I'm having fun with Cloud Retainer rather than being a little bit of a Debbie Downer. But suffice to say, the next patch for me is probably going to be a fairly dead patch. For me, you know, it's like they're not even adding a Dane's Life quest apparently, which is weird. So, anyways, I want to do Noelle with Cloud Retainer. I haven't done that. Okay, so the things to test here, I want to show Yai with the non-Farina plunge team in Abyss. And then on the second side specifically, because one of the upsides I think it has is the movement freedom, but whether it's with Farina or Official to be clear, but I want to show that just because it's a non-Farina variation of Cloud Retainer, a Cloud Retainer team that still gets value out of Cloud Retainer. And like if you conceptualize, I have to, okay, I'm gonna go back to single player so I can access my party screen. Gonna go back to single player. Teo again. Teo? Thank you again. So let's go. I almost exited the game for some reason. Xianyun viable in freeze teams with Risley, Farina, Shenhe, or is Jean just better? I think people have done. I don't have Risley right, but I'm pretty sure Risley's plunge multipliers are decent, and right. I think Risley with Cloud Retainer is an interesting option because his normal attacks aren't necessarily that great. You can get potentially a little bit more AoE damage from Risley with Cloud Retainer from the plunges, and then also can fill in a little bit of downtime between doing charge attacks. You still want to do some charge attacks because of like the Risley's kit synergizing with like the extra damage from charge attacks, I think. But that'd be like something you weave in between doing Cloud Retainer things. So yeah, I think Cloud Retainer, Risley, Shenhe, and Farina seems like a pretty good team. It's very 5-star heavy, obviously, but it probably works competently well if you wanted a good way to get more value out of Risley is my guess. But I would look up someone who actually is doing Cloud Retainer with Risley and see how it looks. What was I going to look at here? I was going to look at something. Oh, I was going to look at Risley's multipliers, but I was looking in my screen. I'm a dumb. This is only a level 1 multipliers, right? But it should show. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so yeah, charge attacks is still higher, and he has like charge attack damage bonus stuff going on. So it's not that like you want to do 8. It's not you're just going to do plunge, 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 plunge. But plunges can be used to fill in the downtime potentially, instead of doing his normal attacks, which are relatively much lower multipliers than his plunges are, right? So yeah. I think it's an interesting option for sure. Should you specifically pull it for that reason? I don't know. I would look it up. See what people are doing with Risley and Cloud Retainer. Take my Shenhe. I never use her. I would like to. I'm gonna get Shenhe for 2 reasons. I'm leaning towards getting Shenhe, most likely getting Shenhe for 2 reasons. 1, the hybrid build I mentioned earlier in the stream, and then 2, just to make DPS Charlotte slightly less garbage. It's a terrible, stupid, dumb reason to get Shenhe because like a niche cryo buffer. I almost never use cryo units, right? So the only reason I got beginning Shenhe is to do a hybrid build on Shenhe that might be very and for DPS Charlotte. It's a terrible reason. Don't do what I do, but that's the state my account is in. I can afford doing things like that. I might regret that if I really like if I really like Arlecchino's kit, but my crystal fly trap is ready. I'm ever so slightly pessimistic about Arlecchino because of the on-field rumors. But one thing that, by the way, we should learn from. I'm not gonna take them with any like confidence though. The Arlecchino rumors that were from a while back, because remember all the like different leaks about what Chiori's kit would be, and then now that she's in beta, we know what her actual kit is. Like none of those leaks were even like meaningfully accurate to any actual real degree, like, other than the ones that happened like literally this week, right? So yeah, I don't necessarily put that much trust in what Arlecchino's rumored to be, but she is last rumored to be an on-field unit that like has some kind of incentivization for overload, which is not that interesting to me, because I think if she was an off-field unit that incentivized overload, that would be much better. But an on-field unit is not going to be that meaningfully different, but maybe she does something really, really interesting. So I don't know. What was I doing here? Why did I come here? Oh, I came here for the crystal fly trap. Bro is going insane. He pulls buffers only to make them DPSs. Indeed. Or to buff the worst. Like, Charlotte is genuinely the worst character I have tried to DPS. Like, she's really bad at being a DPS. But I'll be damned if I... Oh, sorry, I didn't use my beepa. I'll be damned if I don't try. I was going to check something quick before I leave here. What do I have for these? Okay, let's level this up to 2. I'm doing this because of, gotta do DPS Cloud Retainer things. And this is probably only gonna get me to like level 5, which is fine. I'll farm a little bit more of these tomorrow. That should get me to level 6. And that's good enough for now. I'll probably take that to level 8 as well, by the way. And then I want to get... I think I should be able to farm enough, right? I think you can farm this for talent materials obviously on Sunday, and then Wednesday. Ooh, okay. I was hoping for not Wednesday, but that's fine, I guess. So yeah, between the materials I get tomorrow and then Wednesday, I think I will be able to get this talent to level 8. Goodbye all my Mora, and then hopefully her normal attack to level, which is just for her plunge multiplier, right? To level at least 4 should be easy. But speaking of, let's just level that to 2 right now. And I can convert any browns. And blam. Shincho did not give me a refund. How dare you? How dare you, sir? Okay, yeah, okay. Should be fine. I think I'll be able to. Who pulled... wait. Pull who you would like IMO if you really like how a character looks, you should get them. Oh yeah, I absolutely agree. Like, if anything anyone is saying, if you just like a character, oh, let me cancel this ad insert so I can... Oh, I can't cancel the ad insert because the button's not... Oh, okay, well... Ads running. I don't know how ads affect, like, people's ability to... I don't know how it resumes. Does it just, like, resume where it cut off when it does an ad? I don't know. What does it say? Have a stroke. Oh yeah, pull who you want, right? Because... Genshin, like, the best thing about Genshin's, like, creative frame rate, they go, like, the fact that I can, you know, do Plunge... Maybe I'll show Plunge Candace. Well, no, I'll if you want to watch Plunge Candace, I'm going to have a whole video for Plunge Candace. Should be out tomorrow. Unless I get very distracted by something else. The video is already edited, like, mostly. I just need to, like, edit in music, which takes an annoyingly long amount of time to edit in music, by the way. So, but worst case scenario, I'll just be lazy like I was for my video today and just edit in music for the Spiral Abyss sections, which is only like half the video, right? So, or less than half, I think. And, yeah. So, anywho's. The video should be out tomorrow if you want to see Plunge Candace things. So on the docket is to show this team that I have active right now. We'll try to do a Kazuha, like a weird Kazuha Vape EM plunge build, crit build with Cloud Retainer, Farina, C6 Bennett, right? And I'll do his EM VV build first just to see, you know, swirl damage in that same exact team context compared to normal damage. And I want to try Noelle as well because I haven't tried those. Got double ads, really? I literally tell YouTube to do... Okay, blame YouTube, I'm sorry. When I configure this in my dashboard for YouTube, I specifically tell YouTube to conservatively do ads. Because it's the only, like, sane way to do it. I can do, you know, balanced. I can do heavy ads automatically, or I can do conservative. And I choose conservative, so it's their fault that they give you 2 ads. Like, that 2 ads is conservative to YouTube, whatever. I'm sorry. I have a quick question. Can you join my world? If so, you're gonna say your UID. Not right now. I want to test things for the stream. Sorry, Jason. And anyways, I always get all talents, so at least 2, so I can ignore the green books. Yeah, I kind of do that a lot as well. Like what did I do that recently on someone? Did I? No. Well, no. No, I think I did that on Farazan before I even leveled up. Yeah. So before, even though like my priority for Farazan is leveling up her skill and burst, I was like, yep, may as well just level up her normal attack to level 2 just so I can convert all of the lower tier materials to higher tier, right? So anyways, I got lucky with Farazan, by the way, using these drops because I just happened to be choosing these drops from the battle pass, the battle passes that I'd been buying. And the reason I had been doing that is because I was actually going to use them. I think Candace uses the same exact materials. Yeah. By the way, Candace uses the exact same materials for like everything as Farazan. Same boss. Not obviously hydro crystals, but same boss, same overwhelming materials, same of this material, and she uses the same talent materials Farazan. Why? Like, this character released the patch before Farazan. They released 2 4-star characters last year in a row that used the exact same materials. Why? Whatever. Anyways, so I was stockpiling stuff because I wanted to level Candace's talents more, but Farazan ate them. So oh well.
If you are presently
No, a second ad always plays if you don't skip the first one. That's annoying. Oh, yeah, sorry. Blame YouTube. If it makes you feel better, I mean, like, ads are kind of your payment. Like, I don't try to push people to donate. I mean, I obviously appreciate people like Linda and giving me 100 euros, but the long and short of it is, like, ads are the payment for the service, right? So I put ads in my videos, but I just tell YouTube to automatically put them. I was telling YouTube, by the way, originally to not do unskippable ads, but they removed the ability to do that a few months ago. So, like, if you saw my videos start having a non-skippable ads when they didn't before, that wasn't me. That was YouTube that was like, no, we're not going to give creators control to do non-skippable versus skippable ads anymore, which pissed me off. But I don't know. I can't really do anything about it. I do have control over like when ads occur, but unless someone comments to me that like complaining about ads, which basically never happens, I don't go and it takes too much time to like, okay, I have this 30-40 minute video, where do I put the ads in? Like, I'm just not going to spend the time when I'm thinking about my content where I'm going to place ads manually, unless it's like an important piece of content where I don't want the ads to interrupt what I'm doing. So like I made sure I manually place ads at very specific points for my for my video that I made that was like a big scripted video on why 4-stars suck to pull that I made like 6 months ago or something. That video I specifically chose where to, what am I doing? I specifically chose to, let's show, I'm going to show Farina with Yai first, because just to compare to official, like you'll see the Farina variation is better. But anyways, and notably, and by the way, Farina in this team should, because of Farina in this team, I'm not being able to swirl Electro or Hydro even with consistency because of Nahid in this team, eating the Electro aura and the Hydro aura. Therefore, Cloud Retainer should actually probably be on like Noblesse in this team rather than VV. But if I can get a swirl occasionally, VV is still theoretically better, but it's not something, you know. So even without her being on Noblesse, right? It's still going to be a bit better. And yeah. So anyways, YouTube with ads, it is what it is in my opinion. Like YouTube offers an amazingly high quality service for being free. And ads are your payment for the service, even if as annoying as they are, is all it comes down to. So, yeah. What am I doing on the other side? Let's just do, I don't know. Let's do hybrid riding. That's what I did. That's what I did before for my video with with the Xiao. No, not you. Need a Dendro, need a Hydro, and let's do a Sara. It's a very 5-star heavy. I normally don't use this many 5-stars, but side effect of the more you play Genshin, the more 5-stars you have, the more you use 5-stars. Weird. I was thinking about pulling Xianyun on a rerun for your Diluc, but I don't know. And if you want to get more value out of Diluc, it seems like a good way to get value out of Diluc. The only downside of Diluc with Xianyun is, other than the fact that he has decently high multipliers, he's not really that inherently better versus anyone else that's, you know, you're using C6 Bennett with. And giving a Pyro Infusion, right? So, like, how much better is Diluc in the... I did Pyro Xiao, right, for today's video. How much better is Diluc versus Xiao? The answer is slightly. He should be slightly better than Pyro Xiao, but not, like, insanely so, right? But it's a very good way and fun way to play Diluc, so... It's just... not something that unique as a playstyle to Diluc, is all I'm saying. Oh, you know, I definitely bungled that up. It's fine. I'm not focused on this team right now. Don't worry about it. We're just using this team to get through the Abyss. I'm not gonna go through the full Abyss with this team, or with the team on the second side, by the way, because I don't need to. It's just to establish a baseline. Why did I not use Sara? I don't know. Don't worry about it. That was a terrible clear. I was glancing at chat in between it though. Okie dokie. So, dude should spawn here. Alright, do this. Okay. If I played that better, I can one-cycle that, by the way. I can kill it there. When I tested this team initially the other day, it might have been helped by the fact that I had a better buff or something. But, ow, butthole. I was able to one-cycle this thing with this team, right? So, there we go. It took a little bit longer there. But now we'll compare that to Fischl, right? Instead of Farina there, and we're losing. Right, we're getting the Fischl damage, but we're losing Farina's damage. We're losing the additional quick hyper bloom damage, which is my Yai has like with Naheda's EM buff has like 350 EM, so it's definitely not nothing, but it's not 20,000, it's not 30,000 damage for hyper blooms, right? She doesn't have 1,000 EM, and then we are also losing the damage bonus, right? So Yai will get slightly less damage in this team, but it's not that much worse of a team, right? And this is a way, right? You can utilize Cloud Retainer, is my point. Like I can utilize Cloud Retainer at least, and then if I wanted to use Farina on another team, I can still do that, right? But in most cases, you will probably get the most value out of Cloud Retainer with Farina. So yeah, is what it comes down to me. Let's official Cloud Retainer. And where did I? There she is. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And we'll do Hybrid Riding again. We'll do Farina. See, we're freeing up Farina, which means I can use Hybrid Riding with Farina, and Hybrid Riding with Farina is even better, right? It'd be better than what I was doing before. So like this is an upside to doing like this Yai official team, is that Farina is now available for the other side, which should make it a little bit better. And we'll just do Baiju again, and then we'll do what's her bucket? Where'd she go? There she is. We'll keep Sara. This is a Giggle Well concept, but imagine C6 Farina plunge. I mean, I wonder if you could do that with. So I don't think Farina's C6 even triggers on plunges, right? So you'd still have to do normal attacks anyways. So realistically, if you're gonna do plunge Farina, you're gonna want to do either C6 Bennett shenanigans or Candace, right? And how good is that? I don't know. The problem is if you're doing Candace, Farina, Cloud Retainer, your last slot is like what? You could do Xianyun, I guess, but I feel like you're going to be applying enough Hydra that Xianyun's would be vaping most of the time rather than Farina, so you could do Freeze, Plunge, Farina, or you could do Electro Charge, Plunge, Farina. It fundamentally wouldn't be that dissimilar. It basically, yeah, you could basically do the team that I did in tomorrow's video, but you would change Farina to an attack-based build instead of doing what I did on Candace.
There is no escape. Let the world
Mind the side effects. Remember, the health comes.
Really?
strike. Glory to the Shogun. Illusion shattered. Now
Am I gonna hit both of them? Probably not. Yeah, okay. Did I not burst on Farina, or did it just already come back? Oh yeah, it already came back. Okay, that's all. What weapon is on? What are you on? Oh, you're on Aqua. That's very not correct. It's because I gave Elegy to whatever. It's fine. I gave Elegy sorry, used to be holding to what's her bucket? Farazan.
Mind the side effects. Taking a turn for the better.
strike. There is no escape. Now you shall perish.
Okay. Call Zab, bro. Probably the stupid heart, man. The heart is covering. Bro probably did it. Okay. Freaking heart and the stupid you. I really gotta just like delete the CSS when I start a stream.
Right now. Odds reveal. Strike cloud confirmed.
Right, still getting 53k versus like the 60k as I got before, but it's like I missed. Oops. Oops. I needed to reset skills before then. That was dumb. But like, you know, and with Fischl and Yai, you're usually applying enough Electro that, let's just do this while it's doing its BS. You're usually applying enough Electro that it's fine for getting squirrels. Although sometimes the dude's a butthole, and because you're not hitting it much. I don't really want to do another rotation here, but I probably should have just done another burst. Yeah, do your thing. Can I? Okay, there we go.
On, reveal thyself.
I probably should have just done another Cloud Retainer burst there, but it's fine. I mean, right, similar clear times, right? Wasn't crazily different. So you don't need Arena with Cloud Retainer. You just get more value. Generally.
Glory to the Shogun. There is no escape.
Okay. I used my burst at the end of the previous chamber, so I did, okay, that's fine. Now.
Quiver.
Yeah, I know, yeah, I knew I had time. That's part of why I waited. Okay, I'm not gonna use burst on this dude.
Your coming was foretold. Remember,
Dance with
help
me.
is the eternal.
We do this.
Flash. No turning back. Inazuma shines
Okay.
eternal.
What? Did I not hit on the initial hit of the burst? Oh no, oh, the animal wasn't dead, so she took pierce damage. Die. Really?
The eternal awaits at long last.
There we go. Why do you not use Yai's burst? Because Yai's burst is something I usually just use situationally. Can you use Yai's burst more? Yes, but like you gotta reset her ease, and so the best way to use Yai's burst, and I haven't played this team that much, right? The best ways to use Yai's burst is as the skill duration is ending, and in order to time Yai's burst properly, there might be a pretty specific optimal time. I didn't hit him. There might be a pretty specific optimal time in which you want to use her burst, right? Like now. I don't know why I went official there. Okay. Where's your chefs? Do this.
Right here, right now. Bright cloud converge.
So, you know, and then the skills ending there, so you see it lined up pretty well there, with being able to just redo her thing, and yeah. And again, this team has a really interesting and nice balance of doing range damage, while also like forcing you to still, by nature of trying to on-field Yai to get value out of the plunges, forces you to try to get closer to the enemy at the same time while still having the range damage. I don't know. It's a really nice balance. It's in my experience, whether that I'm using Farina or Fischl, it plays basically the same. It's the most fun way to on-field Yai, because Yai has this issue wherein, let's take this one. Yai has this issue sometimes with if you try to on-field her, wherein like it's just awkward to do charge attacks and normal attacks on her, and like the normal attacks don't gain that much value. They're not useless to do if you have no one else to on-field in the team, but generally speaking, if you have anyone else that is doing relevant on-field things, it's not the priority to on-field normal and charge attacks with Yai, right? Whereas with Cloud Retainer, it can start to make more sense, and Cloud Retainer can be a defensive unit while also, you know, being Animo and, you know, doing the plunge buffing things. It's not necessarily, I think, the objectively best way to play Yai, to be very clear. I think Yai Tignari teams, as far as like single target damage goes, like if I was going to do Yai Tignari, I don't even know, the Yai Tignari Baiju, whatever, and that probably would be just as competent, if not maybe better, at the second side here. But it's a new team variation that lets me play Yai in a very different way, right? Right? Cloud Retainer is an enabler, and that's what I enjoy about it. So, you know, butthole. Okay, set this. I definitely shouldn't have used Cloud Retainer's burst before when I did that, but whatever. Let's do this. Let's do this. I should have just used her skill.
Right now.
Played this bad. It's fine. Yeah, right there I should have used her burst. But it's just like, I just find it so unnecessary to use the Eyes burst most of the time, right? It's just like, okay. Yay. See, nice 50k plunge there, right? Like, I don't know. It's a really engaging way to play Yai for me, versus her having to just like, okay, if I'm not doing plunges there, then I'm doing normal and charge attacks, and Yai's normal and charge attacks. So for the context of like if you're doing quick bloom, right? Yai's normal and charge attacks. Let's just go in Abyss and see if I can demonstrate it. The reason so I really like the quick bloom variation and too with Farina, right? So I'll go back in here to show, because I think it's a good way to illustrate the problem with Yai's normal and charge attacks. Off topic, you have a very nice voice, Mr. Soul. Probably could fall asleep. Thanks. A lot of people have told that to me. It's the only bad thing about people saying, you know, they like how my voice sounds, is means I don't make that much of a conscious effort to try to like speak better. Speaking better and is not necessarily changing how my voice sounds, to be clear, but there's a number of like speaking patterns. Like I cut out, you can probably tell in the live streams based on like certain patterns of words I say a lot, but I cut out a lot of like annoying idiosyncrasies that I notice when I'm editing. I'm just like, listening to myself speak so much is just like, why do I say this word? Why do I say the word right so much? Like, Jesus Christ, I need to use filler words like that a little bit less. It's hard to break habits, man. So anyways, do this and then do some dendrocores, right? So the dendrocores are there, right? If I do a normal attack like that, yeah, I did trigger it that time, but a lot of times Yai is not gonna be able to trigger dendrocores with crazy, oh my god, okay, don't kill me, with a ton of consistency. And then more importantly, it's like her normal attacks, right, when they aggravate, don't do 0 damage. I should probably use Cloud Retainer's Burst. Don't do 0 damage, but oh, okay. Right, let's see if we can trigger air. Yeah, we did like 10k damage. That's a lot. That's not much damage when you're on field Yai. And if I do a charge attack, oh, I don't have. Oh, they're gonna die, aren't they? If I do a charge attack, we'll probably see like 25,000 damage or something, and it's not bad, to be clear, but it's quite a bit different from on-fielding Yai, as far as like how it feels and the numbers I see and whatnot. Let's see. And that just missed, so that's a problem with her charge attack too, right? Like, I don't dislike on-fielding Yai because I really enjoy it. There's the 25,000, right? So but that's a far cry from getting the 50,000 to 60,000 that I was getting, right? From doing the plunges, right? So it definitely feels like the best way to on-field Yai to me. It isn't necessarily the best way to play Yai, but it is a very fun way for me to get more value out of Yai, and it's a competent way to play her. And I don't know, it's cool. So again, she's an enabler more than she is like her ability to enable that is the most important aspect to her, even if it's not like, oh my god, the buff is so crazy, it's super worth doing. Like, it's not necessarily worth doing, right? Like, Cloud Retainer's buff does not benefit my Yai's skill-based damage or her burst damage. But like, the team performs competently, and I can definitely, and I still have to like learn the ways to, so I can fit in like the burst I was talking about better by using her burst as the right before the skill expires. So like using the burst right before that just happened is the ideal time, because then you're not wasting any field time, because you consume them with the burst and then you reset them, right? So basically it would be, so you do some like plunges while this is happening, and then you do, you know, this, you get the 4 bolts, and then you do that, and that doesn't waste any field time, right? So that's why her burst is kind of hard to fit in. Most of the time I just don't bother because I just don't need to. But like, that would be an optimal playstyle thing that, you know, I can learn how to fit in better. And, you know, I was starting rotations with doing triple E, and then, like, doing Fischl or Farina, and then, you know, swirling Electro, doing Nahida, blah, 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 blah. And then switching back to Yai, because the reason I do that is I like having damage happening, like, while I'm doing burst animations for 5-star characters. It's part of the reason I really like Yai, is her ability to, you know, and like, Fischl and Farina, is they have damage that's happening while you're doing these, you know, 5-star burst animations and whatnot. So, even if it makes, like, a rotation a little bit awkward, I prefer starting with doing Yai 3Es, but there might be a better way to do it as far as, like, timing, optimization, and whatever. So, anyways, let's, I think you get the point, right? It works, and, yeah, I don't know. It's not like Farina is such an insane improvement to this team that you need to use Farina, is my main point. But, in my experience thus far, I definitely do find, though, that you gain a lot more value with Cloud Retainer from having Farina, and so, I don't know. I probably wouldn't bother pulling for Xianyun personally, unless you just really like her for Overworld, right? If you don't have Farina. Favorite thing about Seluna's voice is that funny sounding but. Thanks. Usually the bots I use are relatively okay, but how was the Abyss? I was doing artifact demands. This Abyss is easy in general. I'm just trying to like test different teams and whatnot. What's next? Oh, the Kazuha EM versus crit build. Sure. Okay, we'll do it on the first side, and so we're gonna do C6 Bennett. Is Bennett what belt is Bennett on? Bennett in this team should probably be on. He is on. Okay, let me switch him back to instructors. Bennett on this build or on this team should be on instructors because he's with Kazuha. Kazuha can get a bunch of value from the EM. We're going to be doing potential vapes with Kazuha on top of Kazuha's swirl damage being increased, right? On top of him giving more damage bonus from EM, so it's just like a no-brainer to use instructors in this context. I think I was using this before. And then wait, did I just do 5-piece instructors? I just did 5-piece instructors. Oops. Yeah, okay. Definitely need to do a 5-star. I thought, for some reason, I was doing. Interesting. I thought I was doing that timepiece before, but I don't think I was. So let's switch back to this. And there we go. 211, 38 crit rate should be fine. I thought I had a build that was higher than that, but yeah, it'll be fine. Okay. I'm really enjoying her gameplay, and her plunge damage buffing is really nice too. And you can VV shred. Yep. She has enough utility that I think she's a good unit. I want to be very clear. It's just, if you're not going to engage with her gimmick, she's not that relevant compared to like Sucrose even. Or Jean, it would be obviously the better comparison, because like as a generic animal healer, I personally think Jean is better for like just a generic animal healer for Farina. Jean has potential anti-grouping more than Farina, but you can also use Jean's anti-grouping in situations that it would be anti-grouping to group, as long as you position yourself smartly. So like I consider Jean to have higher utility as far as like skill expression goes, but for comfort utility, you might still prefer Cloud Retainer over Jean as a generic animal healer, maybe, but like it's not a reason, in my opinion, to recommend Cloud Retainer. I recommend her if you want to, if you have a plan for like what you want to invest in to take use of her gimmick. For someone like me, there's a lot of random different BS I can think of to utilize her gimmick, so that's why I like her. Alright, so let's try... So this is Kazuha still on like a normal VVEM build, right? So we're going to do Farina. Where... Bennett. I have to... I guess an upside of this team... We have 2 VV users in this team, so again, this is a team where Xianyun... If Kazuha was on a VV build anyways, then obviously Xianyun should be on Noblesse, right? But it's fine. I don't have a Noblesse build to put her on anyways right now, so I don't know what the rotation looks like in this team. We're just going to test this team in the first side, and then we'll test We'll put Kazuha on like a DPS oriented build on Martial Say Hunters.
Time to shine! Skyward! Strike cloud confirmed! Everybody stand back!
One with nature. Check clouds high. Birds call.
I do have C1 Kazuha, obviously. It was an 8. Wait. Okay, I think Kazuha crit there, to be clear, which I don't know what my Kazuha's crit rate is, but yeah, that was an 80k crit, I think, from Kazuha on a VV build, on a VVEM build.
Time to go.
Boy. Forgot to do Bennett's skills. Blam, blam. I'm not really thinking at all about like an optimal rotation. It's fine. What am I doing? I just saw a 46,000 non-crit, by the way. So, interesting aspect happening here is we're applying enough pyro, it seems like, to get a meaningful number of vapes from Farina. Can you just die? Like, was that good? It was fine. I could have probably played that better and definitely cleared faster. It was competent, but by nature of just how much damage you're dealing from different sources, it's not that surprising that cleared fine. I basically expected that. So that was just a normal Kazuha build, right? TF Kazuha? Yeah, you could do TF Kazuha. TF Kazuha would potentially make sense if I didn't have C1. But because I have C1, it basically is irrelevant to do TF Kazuha. So we're going to switch to a DPS build on Marsh Saucies. Boy, okay, let's see. Quite like the idea of that artifact. All that EM is pretty juicy. We might need a good chunk of ER still, so let's try something like that. And then definitely an EM timepiece still. I don't have an onset goblet. I wonder, EM goblet might actually be best now that I think about it. Assuming you're getting... Actually, I don't know. I don't know. We'll do a pyro goblet just because I have a really good pyro goblet. So this is a vape shell focus build, but he should still get meaningful animo damage. I'm gonna be clear. And then I don't think I have enough crit rate to justify this, but we'll check what the crit damage looks, or the crit ratio looks like. Yeah, no, that's a little bit of a sus crit ratio. It'd get us some big numbers, to be clear, but that is not what I would describe as a smart balance. Let's switch. What was that on before? Oh, there we go. Switch back to that. And then let's use, that's crit damage attack percent, crit damage EM. There we go. Let's use that one. Okay. And so 450 EM with light of full ER. We have, the ER is a little bit, but, you know, close to 100% crit rate with Martial Say stacks, 222 crit damage. We'll see how the ER is. Yeah, honestly, the smart decision might just be to switch back to Xiphos. But just because of the ER it gives. I don't know. I think it'll work. We'll see how it do. Yeah, the ER is just... how else do I fix the ER, though? I guess I can use that instead. I think about it. Sacrifice a little bit crit rate, more ER. Let's try that. Switch this. And then switch this. What about the flower? I mean, I could get more ER on the flower too. Yeah, I'll switch to that if I need to, but I'm going to stick with this for now because that juicy 89 EM. Alright, there we go. Let's do that. Let's see if 116 is enough. It's probably not. But we have 2 animos in the team, so it might be fine, honestly. Might be. Might be. Okie dokie. This team I probably got to think about the rotation a little bit more. So probably Farina into well, we got to do the normal vape setup, I guess. So yeah, Freena into Bennett, into try to make sure there's pyro on the enemy, try to swirl pyro, and then do Kazuha. So there's a pyro Kazuha build. We'll see how it do. I guess I'll put a full team on the second side just in case this is it's fun enough. We'll do the healerless Yai team I mentioned earlier in the stream. Take a drink of water quick. Throat's getting a little dry. Xianyun provides that extra 10% crit rate. Oh, that's true. I forgot about that. So I didn't need the crit rate anyways. I don't think I'm really that close to overcapping or anything, so... Are you serious? Okay, well, we're not swirling pyro. Okay. I don't know why I did that first. Whatever, it's fine. Actually, maybe it's better to infuse Hydro on him. I'm just gonna cryo swirl. Bruh, these freaking enemies. Oh my god, the animo damage is so juicy. Okay, I swirled pyro that time because they had burning aura. Obviously, it was basically impossible to swirl pyro that time. Or sorry, infuse Hydro. I think infusing Hydro might make sense in order to try to just ensure getting like consistent vapes on Kazuha's charted plunges. Oh wait, I just realized I wasn't doing plunges. What is wrong with me? Okay, that was just bad habits. I've played Pyro Kazuha before, just doing charge attacks. So I was just like, charge attacks. Okay, let's do this slightly better. I'm an idiot. I didn't even do any extra plunges. I'm such a twat. I don't think. Oh my god! Stop. Can I stop getting interrupted every time I jump in the air? She died. Oh my god. Bruh, these freaking enemies. Okay, this is like the only hard chamber in the Abyss because of those enemies in my opinion. Well, no, it's not the only hard chamber. The second half you have to deal with whatever the individual enemy mechanics are and their time wastiness, but... okay, let's try to do a normal attack to make sure we get pyro on the enemy's brain. just gotta use my brain slightly more, and then we'll probably be fine. Okay, there we go. I think I got it. We're doing a lot of physical damage there because, you know, timings of things. I can't even see what damage he's getting, but obviously it's high. Like, that was... So yeah, I think crit Kazuha in that team context is... I think crit Kazuha in that team context is a bit better than EM Kazuha. Ow.
Right here. Emerge. Right now.
Okay. The mighty butthole. Let's just iframe through some of this, get some healing going. Bruh, he avoided all the hits, got his bosses. Okay. What a butthole. Can I hit this? Do I have to hit this specifically? I don't know if I do. I think I just deal damage to it. Okay. There we go. Okay. Bro doesn't have enough time on Bennett buff to plunge twice. Yeah. It's a little bit weird. I think I could try... what do I do? Could I utilize... skill damage? Yeah, the Bennett buff uptime is a little bit awkward. I could wait... I could do... Xianyun alt into... like, I could do Farina into... like, Bennett E into Xianyun Q into Bennett Q E again into Xianyun E into Kazuha. Oh. Well, do I even do the second Xianyun E? I don't know. The problem is trying to swirl Pyro, right? And I think I have to switch to Xianyun again, but it should save a little bit of time from Xianyun's burst animation for Bennett uptime. So that's the thinking at least.
Where do you think you are going?
Really? Okay, everything's just dead. So, you know, doesn't matter if Bennett's buff is gone when everything's dead. Okay. The team damage is high enough that it just barely matters. Like, what? It's just okay. I mean, that's very strong. I didn't hit it. I didn't hit it, so I didn't get particles, but it didn't really matter. Should have used Yai's skills and movement ability there, but whatever. Yeah. Okay, good.
I'll uproot you.
Emerge right here, right now. Right here.
No rest for the wicked.
Do that. Alright, Mina dead. Continue. Skill damage again.
Strike a pose. Let's light it up. Yeah. Seize the sky. Time to shine. Teamwork is dreamwork. Yeah.
Clouds high, the birds tall. Into the wind.
I figured I'd do that just to try to CC them a little bit.
Stray cloud confirmed. Going in. Let's light it up. Yeah. Skyward.
Fallen leaves adorn my night.
Like, they're not tanky enough for me to like properly test things. I think I have to do that team on the second side to see a little bit of an individually tankier enemy.
I hear everything.
Even though that team is obviously better in single or in AoE.
Right here. Emerge.
As you wish, main Fräulein. One with the force. Here, let's nip that in the
See if I
bud.
can put a guy burst in for once.
A sight to behold. Right here. Emerge.
And shroud.
Odds revealed.
Okay. Sometimes the special jump lands instead of playing. I've not tested enough Gaming to know if there's any weird issues with his plunges, but his dog running, whatever you call it, Suwani, going too far to activate his E fast. Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't tested him enough to know like if there's any weirdness with the behavior of that dog, because it's a very odd thing, right? The fact that that thing runs away and then when it recovers is when you have to like redo his skill. That's why I like C6 Bennett is potentially like really nice for Gaming, is because while like you're waiting for the dog to come back so you can get your additional skill, you can be filling in downtime with doing, you know, if you have Xianyun, you can do pyro plunges, or you could just do pyro normal attacks, charge attacks, right? Well, he's a Claymore user, so probably normal attacks. I like how casting Oz dealt as much damage as the Eyes Burst. I mean, yeah, she has constellations that significantly increase the multiplier in Oz's damage, so not that one. Yeah, when Knight Rider is used, it deals an additional 200% attack as damage and has bigger AoE. And then C4 does a similar thing when you use her burst. And then that's just an increase to her overall damage. C6 is obviously good. So, and then does she have a passive that does that too? No, that's the aim shot passive. I forgot about that passive. So, yeah, anyways, it's like a, what, 400 and some % multiplier, functionally. On top of, you know, any aggravate bonuses compared to Yai's Burst, which is a similar multiplier, right? What is next for you to do, and don't end stream right now? No, anyway, okay. No, I'm not done. I'm gonna test that team again, the Plunge Kazo team, before I switch him back, because I couldn't see what he was doing at the time. Like, he's clearly doing a lot of freaking damage, to be clear, and I don't know. It's weird. It's just the uptime on Bennett is a little bit annoying, obviously, but let's try it on the second side since we have tankier enemies, so we can see enemies not die instantaneously. Like, obviously it was a lot of damage, and like I thought, even with the Pyro Goblet here, he's still doing significant Animo crit based damage, and he still has a good chunk of EM in this context too, right? So he's still doing meaningful swirl damage as well. Kazu's a ridiculous character. This is why, like, Crit Kazu has always been relatively more competent than I think people realize, especially in the context of C6 Bennett. It's just, yeah, this plunge buff synergizes quite well with what Kazuha does anyways, so... we just, yeah, whatever, just do... We'll do the same team, why not? We'll do a single target focus team on the AoE side for funsies. What was the last team I used? I don't remember. No, official. C6 official could have been sold as a C0 5-star. Oh, for sure, yeah. There's a lot of 4-stars that are like that, I think. Nuvia for first half? I mean, I could, but...
Right now. Emerge. Right now.
I'm relatively bored of Nuvilet. What about Plunge Nuvilet? No. Plunge Nuvilet is just, like, no different than doing Plunge of any Hydra unit. The difference is you might already have his normal attack leveled up. Whereas you probably don't for the likes of Mona. Why don't I use this? You die. I don't want to have to use a burst on you.
Right here. Nothing lasts forever. Emerge. Right here. Right now.
Got through the shield.
Can't see? I'll uproot you.
Yeah. Lost the 50-50 to Luke, so can't test it right now. Sad. I can relate. Okay. Pyro Swirl. Butthole. Where are you? Okay, so part of what's happening here from what I just saw there was I do believe we were getting meaningful amounts of vapes on Farina. If I'm not getting vapes on Kazuha, I'm getting vapes on Farina. out of Bennett's circle. Also it expired.
Time to go.
Let's just do this. Let's do... What about without Bennett buff? Really? Yeah, I mean, these enemies are annoying to do any kind of specific setup against because movement mechanics and hiding away underground, whatever, so... I don't know if that was a particularly great showing, but we at least had the one sequence there where I got to see things a little bit more clearly. See how it goes against the V-Knot and whatever, though. Okay. Let me use my... Oh my god. I need to kill you. Stop! Oh my god. Ignari's almost dead.
Midnight Phantasmagoria.
This.
Emerge.
One with the force. I'll uproot you.
Alright, we're fine.
Dance with me. I see everything right here. Emerge right now. Be a good audience, won't you?
This is Nahida and Prototype Amber doing work, by the way.
Let's nip that in the butt.
See? We're fine, because we had... see? That's how you'd make Nahida a better character. You turn her into a healer. Ugh. This team's gonna be much worse than the Wii-Nut than those other teams were for the Wii-Nut because it's harder to do damage to it while it's doing its short little windows, right? I think you didn't target it. Yeah, that's probably worth doing this. Oh, dang it. So you can't really do much. Oh well. Also, do I have... Oh, we're just going to be relying on Farina to hit the butthole then. Nice, okay. I did that bad. Whatever. Dang it, man. Yeah, the timing's awkward here, but... I don't know. Interesting. I think... I would probably consider more... it's probably a lot easier to play the Farazan variation of this, right? Which is a little bit more boring, right? Than doing a Vape Kazuha. But realistically, put Kazuha on an Anemo Damage Goblet instead. And... Yeah, I don't know. Put Kazuha on an Ammo Damage Goblet instead, assuming you have C6 Farazan, right? In my case. If you don't have C6 Farazan, I think it's much more questionable. Whatever, we'll just physical damage our way to victory. It was still 1, but that wasn't great, right? That was a pretty bad clear against the Wii-Nut. This team was very non-ideal against the Wii-Nut, I feel like, because of the damage windows and the setup required there. That's just showing a downside of that core. If you're doing the core of Freyna, Bennett, Cloud Retainer, right, and then infusing a melee with Pyro, that requires a lot of setup. So against enemies like the Wii-Nut, who kind of punish teams that want to do a lot of setup, it's just worse, right? Obviously the damage is there, but it works much better in you know, contexts like these where we're just fighting two enemies that can be grouped together with Kazuha really easily and take lots of AoE plunging damage.
I'm always watching. Right here. Emerge right now.
So we'll try Farazan quick. I suspect it'll be in the first half. I think it's going to be like mostly the same, but we'll try Farazan in the second half as well. Alright, one interesting thing. So, Fire Retainer can be used to target this dude and get him out of the air. Oh, I didn't hit it. See, that's like it's kind of weirdly, annoyingly inconsistent. I've done it like 1 or 2 times in my testing this far. Be able to knock him out of the air with her, but it's very inconsistent, and I don't know why. It's probably just because like the vertical AoE on her skill hit is not good enough to hit like its engines. Couldn't even hit that. Like, oh man. There we go, okay.
Adorn my night. Wind strike. Time to go. Strike cloud converge. Skyward.
Teamwork is dreamwork.
Bye. 650k there. Yeah, so obviously setups are just awkward. So let's start with Fire Zone. It's just an issue like I think it's much more likely people have, right? Because all that team requires, right, is just having Xianyun, having Farina, and then having C6 Bennett. And I think it's much more likely that people have C6 Bennett than it is that people, regardless of, they might not have activated, right? But regardless, compared to the likelihood of having Farazan, who up until the current banner only showed up on Wanderer's banner, right? So I and then when whatever character reran with Wanderer, which I think was like Kokumi and Ito, if I recall correctly. So right now, I think it's an important part of the conversation, and comparing these teams is that like the C6 Bennett variation I think is more accessible, but it's harder to play. In AoE situations, I think it's probably a wash because that was so strong. Like it absolutely wiped through the double wave situation in this chamber, in this current Abyss cycle, right? But again, you saw the setup issues against the second side, right? So because of the fact that I don't think it's going to be that meaningfully different for the first half, I'm going to do it on the second half again with Farazan here instead of Bennett. So Farina, Farazan, Clever Tainer, and Kaza. And then let's do, we're just going to do the same team because I'm lazy. I don't feel like doing anything else. And then the last team I'm going to test after this, by the way, is Noel, which I suspect will be really decent.
Right now. I see everything. Sharing my knowledge.
Should have done Tignari's skill before I did that burst.
Right here.
Yeah, if I had done Tignari's skill before that burst, his skill would have been back there.
One with the force.
I could have done 3 more skills.
Right here. Hey. On reveal light. Nothing lasts forever.
Target the other one, please. No!
Emerge. Right here.
Oh, it still hit it. Okay, good.
I see everything. Shadow Raven.
Can't see? I'll uproot you.
Have you done Xianyun DPS? No. I'm going to wait until a video because I want to level up her talents a little bit more. Not that her talents are vital for it. I could do it now, I guess. I guess if people want to see it, I can do it.
Emerge.
I'm going to do Noel first, though.
Let's nip that in the bud.
Just realized Tignari has at like 0 health. It's fine. How about Azdaha? I can't DPS Azdaha, sorry. Plunge at Azdaha sounds pretty fun, though. Well. By the way, I didn't still on a pyro build. Brain, you gotta put the right. Okay, it's fine. Fix that. Also, EM probably doesn't make sense for a timepiece in this context either. Now that I think about it, so there's that too. And actually, here, let me do this. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. No, yeah, because you're not we're just doing pure animo damage, right? So attack percent makes more sense. So 300 EM instead. We'll still get decent swirls, right? Alright. Probably more crit rate than we need actually with the...
Glory of the princess and
Should I... How much crit rate are we getting? No, we're only getting like 4% crit rate, so yeah. I'm not gonna switch off of crit damage cycle. So I think you only get 4% crit rate from Cloud Retainer to your plunging damage specifically from Cloud Retainer's passive when you're in a single target situation. You got C2 Xianyun and Mona, but only got C1 Gaming. Oof. Yay for 4 stars. And okay, Freya, Farzan, Cloud Retainer, and Kazuha. On an animal build this time, not trying to do animal damage on a pyro build. Asia does have good plunge multipliers. I mean, he's got a pretty beefy body. How could he not have good plunge multipliers?
I see everything. By royal decree, the temple of wisdom.
I hear
Did I forget to use the skill again? I did. You can functionally get a kind of an extra skill out of him in a rotation if I use his skill, at least in the first rotation there. Before I did Nahida, which can save you time.
Show. Emerge. Everyone go here. I'm always watching.
Please get that knocked out. Okay, ow, you buttholes.
Right here. Emerge. I see everything.
Come on, I want to move on to testing the well.
Make yourselves at home.
No,
Can't see? I'll uproot you.
Right now. Right here. Emerge.
I don't know why I did triple E again. That was just pointless.
Everyone go here.
Playing this team all kinds of bad.
I see everything. By royal decree. Behold.
Alright, don't kill me this time. Okay, we're fine.
Right here. Emerge. Right here.
Midnight bent. Let's nip that in the bud.
Sharing my knowledge.
Yeah, sir.
Come on now.
One with the force. I'll uproot you.
Okay, die please. Alright, there we go. Probably not gonna do this one chamber, by the way. Unless, do you guys want to see this team do the full chamber? I predict it will. This should be representative enough, though, I think, of the experience.
Here's the storm. Skyward. Seize the skies.
I should have done whatever. Okay.
Shower me with rain. Time to shine.
Really? Stop.
Like a gift. Dare to mess up.
Strike cloud converge. Wind strike. One with wind and cloud.
Get him knocked out without having to use my other skill. Please? Nice, okay. I didn't do a high plunge. God.
Strike cloud.
The camera? Why did I do that? I think it. I mean, that wasn't a great showing, to be honest, but I think there was a 75k plunge at some point in there. It's competent. I like the plunge. I like the pyro version more, though. I don't know. I just tend to prefer teams that are doing something with reactions. I mean, the only thing you're doing is something with the reactions there, right? Is you're swirling hydro, just buffing Farina's damage a little bit, which is like, woo. And Hydro Swirls don't do like meaningful AoE damage, right? Because you don't get AoE hits on Hydro Swirls specifically, but you do on the other types of swirls. So, you know, not that the AoE situation mattered in that chamber, but I don't know. I think the crit Kazuha was a lot more fun, even if it's a lot more weird to pull off. With C6 Bennett versus Farazan there was my feeling. Like, it was fine. You could do the crit Animo Kazuha, but I think the pyro focus build is a little bit more fun, and that pyro focus build will perform probably relatively similarly regardless of Animo Goblet or Pyro Goblet or whatever. And yeah, so that's my thoughts on that. I think the Pyro version was a lot more fun. With Cease's Kazuha, I guess I imagine the Animo version is probably almost surely better because, you know, Animo infusion, go figure. But because then he's doing Animo damage on his plunges. Duh. So, yeah. It was fun. But I definitely like the Pyro version more. Okay, let's switch him back to whatever he had before. This is the Genshin experience that MiHoYo wants, because, you know, they added a loadout system that doesn't do anything. I appreciate you, HoYoverse. Appreciate you. That I mess with the loadout system. To be clear, that it's not the new, you know, equipping system. I refuse to call it. Oops. I refuse to call it a loadout system because it's not a loadout system. I think they called it custom loadouts in their marketing, but in game it's called the fast equip system. I think, right? Yeah, it doesn't even say loadouts anywhere. And yeah, this is garbage. It's actual garbage because you have to like go through here. You set it like, okay, you tell it what main stats it's gonna automatically look for your artifacts from. You tell it if it can pull for from other characters or if it pulls from all artifacts. You can choose, you know, main stat and then whatever other stats, and then choose the set it prioritizes. But like, if it doesn't automatically grab the right one and you manually switch it over, it doesn't remember that. So you could, you know, do a fast equip, do a custom configuration. It'll remember what this custom configuration is. Let's say I just do something stupid, right? Like an HP build on Golden Troop for some reason. And, what? Oh, I accidentally selected. So tell it to do an HP build on Golden Troop. Why did you not? There we go. And we'll just leave those empty, and then let's say only artifacts not equipped, right? And like, hey, it found these artifacts. Cool. This one's not leveled up yet, but whatever. Why did it put so much? Whatever. I can't blame it for prioritizing crit. It doesn't even know what I'm doing. But like, hey, it found all these artifacts. I guess it put so much crit just because I have a bunch of artifacts, and I told it to do HP main stats. And anyways, so like it generates that, right? But like, and then you can go in there and it'll remember what this setting, right? This is what it remembers. It does not remember these, right? You can check alternatives and then switch, you know, this flower that it recommended. I could switch it to this, and sweet. But if I back out of here and then go to the fast equip, go back to custom thing, it does not remember that, right? Because it generates it every time, and it's always going to generate the same unless you get new artifacts. So it doesn't save anything. The only thing it saves, as far as like loadouts go, is it saves this configuration. But yeah, it's useless. It's utterly useless as a loadout system. So it makes sense that they're not calling it loadout system in game. I would be much more critical of it, honestly, and I would probably brag on them a lot for it if they called it a loadout system. I think they called it a loadout system in their marketing at some point, but and whatnot. But it no longer says loadout anywhere in it. It's just a fast equip system, and for the purposes of what it does, which is, you know, automatically tries to give you the best stats you have available, it's fine. I guess I don't think it's the most useful because you still have to like know what main stats you're choosing and whatever, but it at least has this recommendation system of like, hey, you're doing VV and you're doing it's recommending EM main stats, so like, okay, you know, that's like a generally correct way to do things, but it's not what's like actually useful. Because what would have been useful is like if I could save a loadout, you know, for a VV build for Kazuha, right? And in this case, I can get it to like do what it did there, right? And which is it just recommended the things that were already equipped, I think, right? So in this case, as long as it as long as I don't get other artifacts that change things in the future, I can switch the build to like a Marshal build, right? And use it as a pseudo loadout system, right? I could switch an artifact here, and then I can go back into the fast equip system, go back into the custom configuration, generate. Oh, and now it doesn't because, yeah, there we go. I have to. No, see, now it wants to seal pieces from other pieces. Like, see, all I wanted to do was just, okay. I thought it was actually going to work, and it still didn't even work in that simple-ass context. My God. It's useless as a loadout system. Yeah, I thought it was going to work in that context. That was like the most restricted I could give it, but because of the fact that this was equipped to candidates, I had to select all artifacts instead of equipped artifacts, and I couldn't do it. So yeah, the system frustrates me because it feels like to me they did a lot of the work to make a loadout system potentially work, but they didn't add anything that was just like, let me have a saved list of presets, right? Like, have this go into a menu that says, you know, add an extra thing here that says saved configurations, right? And then let me save like 3 configurations, right? So I can go into here, save my Kazua's VV build, and save a, you know, Marsh, Hunter's Pyro build, right? And wham blam, that'd be such a godsend for like, because like, the more you get in the common of this game, the more you do all these weird, silly, fun things. And like Cloud Retainer has a build that like her optimal build will change heavily depending on her team. Like if you're using her in a team wherein, you know, you can't do swirl setups easily, there's genuinely very good reason to do like Noblesse on her, right? For example, if you're using her with Xiao for an Animo Xiao build, you probably don't want to use VV on her. VV might still be fine for increasing Farina's damage, but like. You get the point. It's just like frustrating that they went to the effort of adding a loadout system, like esque system to me, but it doesn't actually do anything. I don't get it. I don't get it. They went to the effort, but then didn't do the like. They ran a marathon, but didn't finish the last like 500 feet of the marathon. Is what it felt like to me. Like they did all the hard work and didn't do the easy thing that actually makes it a useful feature to the most players. Or to all players, I shouldn't say the most players. The feature still has potential use to players who aren't seeking outside resources, who aren't or don't play enough to just like naturally learn through gameplay or whatever what stats are relevant to characters, but it really doesn't save that much time. So, anyways, came across this live, wanted to ask why Xianyun is not recommended. I'm not gonna go fully into it. You can rewind, go to the beginning of the stream. YouTube lets you do that anytime. And oh, did I finished fixing Kazu's build, I think. We're gonna do Noelle now. But she's my favorite character, but I don't recommend her because if you don't have a plan for like, if you don't have an idea in mind for what you want to actually invest in to like engage with her gimmick, she's not relevant, right? Compared to existing anime units. I really like her. She's my favorite character, but you might not find her relevant. Like, I don't think you should just pull her because you're seeing someone like having fun with her. I think you should pull her if you have an idea in mind for how you want to engage with her gimmick. She is an enabler to do plunge shenanigans with any unit in the game, right? So do you have an idea in mind where like you want to do plunge things with Dia, you want to do plunge things with Yai, right? You want to do plunge things with Noelle that I'm going to show here. Then you want to do Cloud Retainer. But if you don't have one of those ideas in mind where that seems really attractive to you, I don't think you should pull for her. But if you're a player who likes a character that is an enabler for doing more things with your other characters, I think she's an amazing character. But that's not everyone. Some people just want characters that synergize really well with their existing characters that they love playing. You just adore playing Neuvillette, and you only want to play Neuvillette till the end of time. I don't personally understand that mentality because I get bored of playing characters eventually, for the most part, unless those characters are useful in a diversity of teams. Like that's why, like, I have not gotten bored of because she's useful in so many different teams. I can use her in so many different ways. Neuvillette I can't really use in that many different ways. Like you can do plunge Neuvillette, to be clear. It's just like, yeah. So, anyways, if you want to do a plunge Bennett with Farina, who's the 4th best character, if you're doing like Bennett, C6, Farina, Cloud Retainer, It's up to you. The power of DPS Bennett. I haven't actually tested anything with DPS. DPS Bennett with Cloud Retainer is very good. With C6 Bennett, like Bennett as his own DPS with his infusion is very strong because instead of doing C6 Bennett infusion on someone else, like like I was for Kazuha, you're using the infusion on Bennett, and that means you have a flex slot to do like whatever you want. So, you could throw in Fischl and get a bunch of electro reactions in the mix there. You could throw in whoever the heck you want. You could throw in a Dender unit and start doing Burgeon shenanigans, right? It's kind of up to you. When it comes, the reason this team core with Bennett as the DPS, if Bennett is C6, is potentially stronger than using someone else to do a Pyro DPS. Like you've seen potentially a lot of people doing, like seen me doing with Shao or whatever, is the fact that the flex slot can be a supportive unit to make Bennett and the team do more damage from off field while Bennett is doing on field things, right? So yeah, this is one of the DPSing Bennett himself with his C6 is one of the best ways to make the strongest Cloud Retainer teams, most likely. Yeah, so it's just like up to you what you want to put in that flex slot, right? You could put Xiangling just for the classic Xiangling Bennett combo. You'll probably, I don't know, you'll get either vapes on Xiangling or vapes on Farina, right? That would be strong. You can do Fischl, like I mentioned. You could just do more Hydro if you want double Hydro. You could do a Dendro unit just for Hyperbloom. And maybe you can even do Raiden. Probably not Raiden. I don't think you could realistically fit Raiden into a rotation there. You could do Yai because she's an off-field unit, right? So, if you wanted to do Plunge DPS Bennett, the freedom of Plunge DPS Bennett with Cloud Retainer for unit is you can do a bunch of different things. Anyways, Noelle. I'm going to do Noelle in the first half because the interesting difference with doing Plunge Noelle is... Oh wait, I got to double check her build because there's a very good chance I've been stealing artifacts from her. If you're doing Plunge Noelle, right, she has a higher Plunge multiplier, right? Which is why there's potential reason to do Plunge Noelle, right? So she has 318% multiplier there. We should see some pretty big numbers from her Plunge in this context. But a big advantage of Noelle is that you have the AoE damage. And it's not that you can't have AoE damage with the Plunge, but you'd have more AoE from just doing normal charge attacks, right? So we'll see how it goes. It'll be interesting to see this. Nice. It'll be a fun variation for Noelle at the very least. Is my guess. Okay, I think we're probably fine. Yeah, okay, I think we're fine. I've put her on fairly energy-heavy artifacts now. How does that set work on her? On Noelle? This set works on Noelle because we're using Farina. Farina does HP training, right? And then Noelle has healing in her kit, so she's gaining health back. Plus we're using Cloud Retainer now, so we're going to have extra healing. So this is going to be a more comfortable version of a Noelle team. So normally my favorite Noelle Wet Rock variation is with Yunjin, just because it's an extra Geo unit. And then getting big normal attack numbers from Yunjin's buff is fun to me. I like it more than using Goro, personally. But Goro, you could argue, is better and whatever. But I like Yunjin, so we're using Cloud Retainer instead. Cloud Retainer is obviously going to, with VV, is going to buff Yolon's and Farina's damage significantly more. And we are not going to have the normal attack buff from Yunjin. But we can do the plunge damage, so we're still benefiting, Noelle in some way. Her ER issues might become even worse. Like I have 50% ER in this context, and I don't know if that's going to be enough because I no longer have the Geo particles from Yunjin. But maybe she'll generate enough animal particles to make up for that. I'm not sure. We'll find out. We will find out. And yeah, so let's just do this again for the second side. I'm probably, well, I don't know. I might do the second chamber. We'll see how it feels.
Someone needs assistance.
Busted. Here.
I wonder if I should have done Noelle.
Steady as stone. Time to clean up.
Wait, what am I doing? free to dash. In this, because of the fact that the enemies are spawning in a line in particular, in this instance, I think... Oh, we got our energy back without a problem, so there's that.
As a good knight should.
Because they're spawning in a line, it might be easier to get... But yeah, see, this is a context where if I position myself properly, I can probably hit them with normal attacks with the AoE without a problem. Ow. Die, please. There we go. Love your content, Saloon. Thanks. Does plunge trigger Yelan? No, you are correct. I probably shouldn't use Yelan. I didn't even think about that. I have to either weave normal attacks in or use a different character. That is true. That is probably actually why this team did not perform that well. Okay, who do I do instead of Yelan then? I guess you could do... I don't know why I didn't think of that. That's dumb. I did know that. I'm just dumb. My brain didn't think of it because I was focused on the removing Xianyun part. So who do I use? I don't have Goro level, so... And I also don't have a C6 Goro. I can still use Xianyun. No. Realistically, probably like Fischl. Probably. Maybe. I could do Bannon, I guess, but... Don't really... Raiden. I think Fischl. Fischl's just going to generate a lot of energy. You get extra electrocharge shenanigans going. Right? Ningguang or Albedo. I don't have them leveled. I don't have Albedo and I don't have any other Geo units leveled. Other than Xianyun. Yeah, I didn't think about that aspect. Interesting. Just do something like that. Oh no, I'm not. I don't have Fischl available now. Sadness. Let's do. In fact, we'll do Hybrid Raiden on the second side. Why not? Nahida and Hydro. Lisa. Now that. Yeah. Yelan just for damage bonus. I mean, yeah. Yelan maybe just for the damage bonus might be the correct play still. But yeah, if I position myself smartly, I could potentially still hit them with the plunge buff going. Hit both of them with the plunges. Didn't mean to jump that high. Okay, I want you to die. Okay. Wait until I redo this. Oh my god. I'm being very bad with the cancels, but... I don't know. It doesn't feel really that much better than just doing Xianyun double Hydro to me. It probably would feel better if I had a second gym unit for sure. I don't really want to level. I don't really want to level up the likes of Goro just for that though. God dang it. Why did I do that? That was dumb. This is an enemy of all time. This is Genshin gameplay. I probably shouldn't have done that, by the way. I just did it because I thought it was funny. Nahid is my only healer, so I really should avoid taking damage.
There is no escape. Here comes the
Okay. If we don't get him knocked down, this might be a slight problem. Can we do this? Iframe it, maybe? Oh, no. I should have waited. Ow. Ow. Fine. Well, I played this very badly. Good lord.
quiver. No turning back.
Spot hole.
Shine down.
Okay, this is the worst team for this because, again, you know, Raiden team that wants to do some amount of setups. I could still beat it probably. But.
Gotcha. Here comes the catch. There is no escape.
No, you went in. Okay, whatever. I don't care. I don't care. Okay, I care slightly more now that I'm dead. Okay, whatever. I don't know. I don't care that much more about testing that variation. I think I don't have the right teammates. Like Official didn't feel terrible there necessarily, but I don't know. That didn't feel like meaningfully better to me. Of any plunge variation I've tried, that was just like, I don't know. I like the aspect of Noelle being able to, just for comparison, we'll switch to the wet rock variation that I have enjoyed playing quite a bit. We'll do Farina Elon and your Jin Noelle. And this team variation I think is really fun just for the satisfaction of how Noelle has her big sweeping attack, right? And the plunging feels like it's not bad as far as like damage, but not as satisfying. Oh, I just canceled that too early. Did I not Farina burst? I didn't Farina burst. What's wrong with me? Or did I Farina burst and I just... The Farina burst coming back before it's actually over confuses me so much sometimes. So, I don't know if I actually did or not. I wanted to catch those, but oh well. Alright, there we go. I'm hitting both of them at the same time. There we go. In this specific chamber, Official has the advantage, by the way, of being able to get through these dudes' shields, which is a pretty significant upside. But I still got through them fine there. Ran out of Yunjin's buff, but you know. I'm not saying Yunjin's a perfect teammate for that, but you know, because of that, you buff up to the I can't speak. Noelle lasts so long with her burst that you know you got to get a more proper feel for switching off of her at the proper time and whatnot, and redoing all your characters' buffs. And so that wasn't representation of perfectly ideal Noelle play, but. I don't know. I think I still like that team variation a lot more, and visually I just really like playing Noelle for the purposes of like doing normal attacks on her, right? So I don't think I'm gonna do plunge Noelle. That's probably my least liked variation of a Xianyun team that I've tried thus far. So the two things left to try before I end this stream. I've been going for almost 3 hours, so I am ending shortly. How would I rate Xianyun in a tier list? For me personally, like, very high is all I would say. I don't know. I haven't actually ever made a tier list for my characters to any like serious degree. So yeah, we can test DPS Xianyun if you guys want, or do you want to see like a DPS Bennett variation? Pick one. The Xianyun DPS video I will have eventually. Well, by eventually I mean hopefully this week. So I will be doing stuff on that anyways. But the Bennett, I don't know. So I feel like a lot of people are going to do stuff with DPS Bennett with Xianyun, so I don't know if I feel the need to make content on DPS Bennett with Xianyun at this exact time. S tier like Farina? No. I would not rate her to the tier of Farina. But in the same echelon of her being an enabler for doing fun things like Farina, yes. But not in like I recommend her like I do for Farina, right? Just I really enjoy her plunge gimmick and the fact that it opens up variations for playing teams and characters in very different ways, right? And Farina does a similar thing to a lesser extent. So, but like Farina does it in a way that I think is very universally recommended. Like it's hard to go wrong with it's hard not to get some amount of value out of Farina. Whereas Cloud Retainer, if you don't want to engage with her gimmick, it's harder to get value out of her. You need to engage with Farina's gimmick too, but she has more just generic utility. Yeah, and the exploration is extraordinarily good. Yeah, I agree. And there's a whole freaking hour-long thing where I don't know how long, it was probably like 30 minutes of me testing with people in co-op different things with Cloud Retainer's exploration. So, yeah, I think she's the best exploration character, the best exploration character as far as our movement ability goes. Okay, looks like you guys want to do DPS Xianyun. Okay, that's fine. DPS Xianyun is a little bit easier for me because I don't have to switch as many artifacts. Actually, no, I still have to, never mind, I do have to switch a bunch of artifacts, so I still have to switch Bennett's artifacts to Noblesse. Oh, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Okay, so I guess we're doing, okay, let's take Cogver's Verity. So this will be in a video, probably, so this is a preview probably for next week's video. I don't know what her ER needs are gonna be. So the team is gonna be Bennett, Farina, and Farazan. So let's see. Okay, obviously, first of all, Animo Damage Goblet. Let's see if we can get away with doing this. Where is it? Yeah, this crit damage circlet. And then probably that. Actually, wait. Attack percent, because right, she's buffing herself based on her own attack percent. I think attack percent goblet might be better for DPS Xianyun than animal goblet. I'm not 100% sure. It's probably something I'll test for the full video. For now, I'm gonna stick to attack percent goblet because I have a more crit rate heavy attack percent goblet versus an animal goblet, which is more crit damage heavy. Which means I can justify switching to a crit damage circlet like this one, even without it having crit rate. I think it is my current feeling. Let's try this instead. And then the question is, do we need the energy recharge? I don't know. If we have just Farazan, let's use this one to be safe. This, well, okay. You know what? No, we're gonna do the highest damage version first. Which is, this is the lowest ER, highest damage version. Yeah, so 125 ER might be enough, might not. But I have the ability to do more ER, right, by switching to this. This has 10 more ER. I can switch to, you know, something like that with more ER as well. So I have options to get more ER on her. We're just going to try this for now, though. 2700 attack at a baseline with 4-piece Marshall Say Hunters. So, yeah, that should be pretty competent. She'll have over 90% crit rate with her own crit rate buff. Should be some numbers that we see here. Talents are not fully leveled, but it's as much as I can have right now. Okay, and then Bennett needs to be on Bless. If only there was an actual loadout system in the game. Half this stream has been artifact switching, I swear. And let's do that. Okay. 229 ER should be fine. Alright, should be good. DPS Xianyun to end off the stream. I haven't tried this before, so I have no idea what we're gonna get. Let's do the first half, because second half is annoying. Farina. Tarzan. Bennett. Xianyun. And... oh wait, Yai doesn't have... okay, we're not using Yai, because... actually... what do I use in the second side? I'm so used to using Yai, and I just took Yai's weapon from her. I don't feel like switching Yai to a different weapon. I could just put Widzith on her now that I think about it. Fine, I'll just... I don't feel like thinking about a different team to use. That's why. So, just give me a second. It's only a level 80 Widzith, but Yai will be functional with a level 80 Widzith. It'll be fine. Okay, okay. Farina, Farzan, Bandit Collaborator, and let's do Yai, Nahida Tignari, Fish. Let's go. Let's see how this do. Ready?
Make way for the objective. Got him.
Unfortunately, we didn't kill them both, but they weren't grouped very well, so it's not that surprising. Oh, well, that was a proper waste, I think. Alright, so, you know, circle impact problems, which I could have resolved. Let's try again. I think that was 140,000, by the way, that we saw on her triple E. Try to sit in the middle this time. There we go. That's what I wanted to do. Apparently the ER is fine, by the way. Yeah, you don't, you definitely don't need her C6 to DPS her, to say the least. Die, please. There we go. That's very fun. Like, I'm sorry, that's more fun than Shao. Pyro Shao is better than normal Shao. And Shao and a Shao support is a better plunge DPS than Shao, that's my opinion. I shouldn't say better, more fun, okay?
Emerge right here. Everyone hold hands. Temple of Wisdom.
I'll uproot you.
Please hit him? Oh, I figured that wasn't a hit. I don't have Yai's E going.
Emerge right now.
Really? I keep getting hit by it when it's not even touching me. Lamenting indeed. Alright. Skill damage.
Your journey ends.
Get the range one. Farzan's not on tenacity in this team either, by the way, and if I want to get maximum Xianyun damage, which should probably be a meaningful increase, I should have her on 4-piece tenacity. Can you die? Why? I hate this alligator, man. It always like runs away from you. How much charge attack damage do I do without any buffs up? 10k? Okay, not bad. I'm gonna redo because I feel like I can one-cycle that if the alligator isn't 5 miles away. One-cycle the wave.
Your journey ends.
Maybe hug this dude instead. And then slightly better. And I need to do skill on her. Better.
Make way for the attack. Scatter! Skyward! Scatter! Skyward!
Okay, yep, there we go. Much better.
Your coming was foretold. Dance with me.
The eternal oasis! Here's the storm. Here to mess with everybody. Stand back! Seize the sky! Skyward! Scatter! Skyward!
Obviously C1 is really nice for DPS Cloud Retainer, to be clear. But I don't think it's necessary. It was a 43-second clear. Like that was among the similar damage, like the strongest teams that I've been doing on this stream. So, you know,
Let's nip that in the butt.
it seems to be more than competent.
Right here.
My point.
Let's take her to look. Sharing my knowledge.
You're gonna go on the other side, aren't you? Yeah.
Right now. Right here.
Oh.
Keep up.
Right now. Right here.
Oh.
By royal
Whatever.
decree.
It's butthole time.
Emerge. Right now.
Do this. I wish I would have hit one of them, but whatever.
One with the force.
Fine.
I hear everything.
As you wish me.
Right here. Emerge. Right now. I'm always right.
Yep, I'm gonna hit him with one. Whatever.
Right here.
It's just we nut things.
And shroud. Let's nip that in the butt.
Butthole. I'll buy a wee nut. It's not obvious I'm a little bit more tired. When the streams start to get to the 3-hour mark, I tend to brain die. I don't have energy. That's unfortunate. There we go. We're gonna get energy back on Xianyun at least. Ow.
Teamwork is dreamwork. Venture time.
I didn't mean to do that. Whatever.
Make way for the objective.
It's fine.
Skyward.
I'll be honest, this is making me want C2 Xianyun. I don't need it to be any better though. It's like, it's fine. It just would be funny to see even substantially higher. Oh my god. It would be funny to see even substantially higher numbers.
Red cloud converge. Skyward. Scatter.
Oh, you weren't dead yet. Like, I don't know. I like how that plays, and like one of the differences with Xiao versus her is polearm characters. If you want to jump more, like do more plunges, you have to do normal attacks for some reason to cancel their like plunge animation. For all other characters, you can do a dash, and you can just doing a dash input. So for me, it's a right click before doing a jump again lets me get a lot more like faster plunges in, and that feels much better to me than having to do the normal attack plunges. So I don't know, it's interesting.
Right now. I see everything. Odds revealed by
But you know, we're gonna do it again. Oh, I am enjoying Xianyun a lot. There's a diversity of a number of teams to play with her. She's basically just an enabler for me to have fun with characters in ways I couldn't have fun with before. Right now we're doing DPS powers on the funsies. I hate that stupid melee dude, right? Like I try to go to the range dude and the melee dude punches you to Kingdom Come away. Ugh. Freaking butthole. Alright. Alright, do this. Alright.
Scatter! Skyward! Shower you three! Wretched death! Tears of the storm! Everybody stand back! Bright clouds converge! Skyward! Scatter!
It's so good. I love it. It feels so good. It feels so much better to play than Xiao. I don't know. It feels like, as far as like plunge DPSing goes, that feels great. Versus Xiao just feels whatever. Like Xiao is just jump, plunge, try to do normal attack cancels, you know, a little bit of extra when you're doing his animal playstyle. You know, and it's like it's fine. But I don't know, that just feels better. The way you have to like triple E plunge and the way that it animates with the camera movement just feels better to me. And then when you're not doing her E's, you're doing, you know, dash plunge. And that just feels better as well. So yeah, I don't know. I didn't expect to like it that much. But, and it's quite strong too. Obviously it relies on Bennett and Farazan quite a lot. And Farina. So, you know, not saying it's an accessible thing to do, but it's very fun. And it kind of like illustrates why Xiao is not great, in my opinion. It's not a Xiao problem, it's more like an Anemo damage dealer problem. The fact that she can perform pretty similarly to Xiao, and Xiao would probably be better, to be clear, as far as like his damage output compared to Cloud Retainer's damage output in that context, right? Like if we did a Xiao team, but Cloud Retainer just feels more fun, and it's similar enough that why would I bother playing the one that feels less fun to me, right? So yeah, I don't know. Take that for what it's worth. Also, there's another variation of this team that, so the video that I actually make on DPS Cloud Retainer will probably have this build in it, but one of the interesting things with her skill, right, is of course it's 12-second cooldown, which is 24 seconds per rotation. That felt pretty good, but I don't think I was getting 2 skills per rotation in, right? I think there was some cooldown lineup issues with that, so I wasn't always getting 2 skills. With 4-piece Thundering Fury, I think you might be able to. Now, that requires doing electro reactions, right? Because Thundering Fury reduces skill cooldowns. So if I'm doing DPS Xianyun, who do I swap out to do Thundering Fury? It's either Bennett or Farina, right? And since we're not doing Marshals Hunters, it isn't vital to have Farina. So that would be probably what I'd lean towards, because Bennett giving a whole bunch of attack and, you know, her buff scaling on attack and giving a whole bunch of, yeah, right, like I think Bennett is more important there than Farina in this case, for the number you see from Xianyun. So anyways, but I might try with Fischl replacing Farina or Fischl replacing Bennett. I'm not sure which one's going to be better, 100% sure. Although, you know, getting rid of Bennett, now I think about it, might be actually just better for removing circle impact issues, right? So, I don't know, if you watch my streams for some reason, I think most people watching my streams just probably subscribe. But if you are not subscribed, you know, get subscribed or whatever, because that hopefully will be this week. Right? I'm gonna level her talents a little bit more, test a little bit more things off camera, and then I will do that, and I'll do Thundering Fury. So, and Thundering Fury is only, I think, probably relevant to do DPS Cloud Retainer, specifically with C1, because it lets, I think it'll let me get in consistently multiple skills per rotation, right? So yeah, but I gotta do a little bit more testing for that is all. I don't think I'd finish my dailies, by the way. I guess before I end the stream, I'll finish my dailies. Yeah, the fact that she heals so well in this build too, right? Because you're stacking a ton of attack, also means that Bennett is highly unnecessary, right? Like, so if the healing aspect of Bennett is unnecessary and you can afford the loss of attack, swap out Bennett for Fischl. I don't know, right? Stop doing your idol, dude. You need Hydra for TF? What? What do you mean you need Hydra for TF? Do you? Does it not trigger off of swirls? I guess I haven't. This shows I haven't actually messed with TF that much. Where is the freaking domain? There it is. Well, it doesn't matter if I clicked on that one or not. Let your charge over. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're correct. You can't. Okay. Okay. Then yes, I will swap out Bennett. So that's fine. I mean, hey, you know what? That just makes the decision easy. Thank you. So, thank you for the information. You learned something. Yeah. I really like Thundering Fury, but Thundering Fury in practice is hard enough to use that I forget that it doesn't just include all electro reactions. I think Thundering Fury would be a much better, like, if Thundering Fury included all electro reactions, most notably Electro Crystallize, could potentially, like, would be like, you could have done, like, Thundering Fury Navia, right? That would have been super interesting, but alas, doesn't include Crystallize and doesn't apparently include Swirls either, which is annoying. So unfortunate, but that's fine. That just means the decision between, okay, Bennett for attack buff or, you know, Freena for damage bonus is easy because I need the Hydro anyways. So that's what we're doing. So I'll try that variation, and I'll obviously show this team that you already saw in that video, but with a little bit higher level talents, which shouldn't make that much of a difference, to be clear. And I don't know. That does make me kind of want to continue going for Gaming constellations, because the damage numbers you see there would be substantially higher even than I just got with a C2 Xianyun, obviously. And but I don't know, it's just highly unnecessary. I don't think there's any particular need for it. So I don't think I'm gonna. I think it's smarter to save so I can have some wishes for Shenhe. But I don't know. Bennett is overrated at this point, yeah. So it's very possible I'll like the Thundering Fury variation more. Just by it, you know, of course the being able to do this is just really fun. So yeah, we'll see. Is it better? I don't know. Mathing out whether or not you get more damage from Thundering Fury is a little bit annoying, because obviously a build like this on 4-piece marshals and hunters lets me reach, you know, really high crit thresholds. If I do Thundering Fury, what do I even have? So like I don't have the most insane Thundering Fury artifacts or anything. I have a decent selection of pieces. This one's obviously a ridiculously good piece, but I might need the ER. I mean, actually, well, the ER was fine here, and Fischl would generate more ER actually, so I actually don't think I really need that much energy now that I think about it. So something like that. And then probably that. I think that's, yeah. Do I have an Animal Goblet on Thunder Fury? Nope. Or sorry, an Attack Goblet. But no. Also no. Maybe I have one not leveled up. That'd be worth checking quick. Nope. Sad. Okay. That's fine. And what about Circlet? Crit damage with attack percent. So realistically, probably is going to have to be crit rate, right? So something like that. And then probably stick to that Circlet. Yeah. So, you know, 60% less crit damage in exchange for... the ER is probably fine still. It's a little bit less ER than the Marchese build I had going was. But Fischl generates more energy than Bennett. So I suspect that would be fine for the Thundering Fury build, right? And I don't know. We'll see how it goes. A little bit less attack, of course. A little bit less crit damage, so the numbers you will see will be less, but more skills might be more than enough to make up for that. Maybe. I don't know. Because we're trying. That's for sure. Also, it forks only in AoE. Yeah, that kind of makes sense, yeah, because you need to trigger Electro Charge, yeah. You need to swirl Hydro to trigger Electro Charge specifically. Okay, let's switch her back to the other build for now, though. Which was, what was it? This piece, yeah. And this piece. It was the same go. Oh, you know what? I should check real quick. Well, never. I'll leave that for the video. I was gonna say I should check real quick just in case the anno damage bonus goblet is better. It's possible it might be, but I have a feeling that attack percent is better. Just my intuition. There we go. Okay. What weapon were we using? That was Kagura's. So, you know, her best DPS weapon for sure. Once you do triple E, you trigger the Kagura's passive. Right? You can see by the 12%. So, Kagura's gives, you know, 12% skill damage bonus. And then, well, sorry, not more than 12% skill damage bonus. So, you get 12% skill damage bonus with 3 stacks. And then, so that's 36% skill damage bonus, which obviously scales well with her damage bonus, her plunging buff. And then, of course, the elemental bonus is just a nice little gain on top of that she always has in this context. So yeah, Kagura's Verity is kind of a no-brainer. That's kind of one of the if I enjoy this enough that, you know, in the context of when I want to play Yai with while I'm doing, you know, Kagura's Verity on Cloud Retainer, then Yai needs another weapon, and I could use this weapon on Yai. But I kind of don't like Wizard because I don't like thinking about the buff and what I have up and whatever. So I might just level up this for Yai. It's not a bad option for Yai at all. It's actually quite good. So, you know, it'll never get used on Nahida though. Not never maybe, but not often. Anywho's, I'm gonna play around with this team a little bit. Is all it is. Did I finish my dailies? I didn't. Oh god. Okay. Finish my dailies and we donezo. I'm probably going to stream tomorrow, by the way, for the Abyss in polearms only, specifically. And, ow, I just whacked my finger. And we'll see how that goes. I have no idea. This is an interesting Abyss for polearms only, to say the least. Oh, that dude wants breadsticks. Oh, frick, okay. I hate Wizard. At least it was nice to me yesterday with Elisa record buff and crit first try. Very nice. Wizard is not bad. Particularly on Yai, you can be kind of smart with it, but I don't know. I might level up Wizard instead to 90 just because it's obviously going to be cheaper to level Wizard to 90 than leveling Nahida's weapon from 0 to 90. And neither of them require changing my build at all because I have a crit rate circlet. So it's kind of fine regardless. You know, the one advantage of the official variation of this team would be that with like Thunder and Fury is that official should be better for having a stroke. No, for the where's the other daily? That's this direction. For the purposes of Overworld, because less burst reliance in Overworld. Although this team is still quite burst reliant in general. I know that this is like the same freaking daily for whatever. In Overworld, I should definitely have Farazan on Fab instead of Elegy. Just so, you know, because Farazan on Fab instead of Elegy, when she uses her skill, she can trigger Fab, and that would help Overworld use quite a lot, but it's fine. This is not necessarily a team for Overworld. I just find Wizard Bus super annoying to cool down and accidental swapping in the character. Yeah. I don't disagree. It's still an extraordinarily strong weapon because it gives such a ridiculous buff that it's just more than worth it still. But everything is dead. Okay. I don't know where. I know this dude wanted baguettes or something. I refuse. So, in refusing, I need to find something else to do. Wait, there's a million things to explore around here. Perfect. Is the current Abyss hard? In my opinion, no. But whether or not, as I've said this before, whether or not any particular abyss is hard for you may depend on your account, right? So, for me, I have all the tools to deal with, you know, random enemy mechanics. I have more than enough ability to like have ranged constant damage dealing that can deal with the Weenot easily. Whereas depending on the characters you have built, of course I've gone to a chest that is annoying. I just want a chest that can get me dailies done quick. So, you know, depends on your account. This abyss might be a lot harder than the previous abyss for you. For me, this current abyss is actually, I think, easier than the previous one. But it really didn't mean to do that. There's 2 chests here, so theoretically, this area is the end of the stream. By having elegy on Farazon, you're losing the plunge bonus on Freedom Sworn. Wait, what? Your benders on Freedom Sworn might be worth putting Fab and Farazon just because Freedom Sworn and elegy don't stack. Do they really? Why? They're different buffs. Oh, it does have that line. Of the many effects of Millennial Movement, buffs of the same type will not stack. You, Mihoyo. Why does Mihoyo punish players for wishing, like, this is why weapons are dumb to go for, right? Like, so yeah, you're 100% correct, Sylveon. It figures that the person that, you know, does nuke setups would know that weird niche interaction. Like, that matters to very few people. but the, like, good lord, why, like 5-star weapons take more resources to level up, right? Like, that's a benefit to the fact that I didn't get Xianyun's signature weapon, is that I don't have to freaking worry about, like, leveling up. Like, I have a million more Mora because I didn't get that weapon, right? Like, oh my god, I can just aim, but I'm stubborn. Or I could just go to that thing, I mean, if I'm stubborn. Hello, sir. So, yeah, the fact that it has that clause is extraordinarily dumb. Why would they do that? I do not get that. So yeah, Farazon, other than for Farazon's own personal damage contribution, it would make sense to, it would definitely make sense. Oh, hello. Where? Oh, okay. Well, that's weird. There were just like random single helitrils that were spawning in waves there. 1,000 floating dreams EM effect does stack though. I mean, yay. Are you trying to say I should wish more on this? Like, my problem is like, why? Like, they're punishing people for getting multiple of different 5-star weapons. Like, it's one thing if this weapon, right? If I had, I do have 2 copies of Freedom Sworn, right? If I had 2 users of Freedom Sworn on the same team, right? If I put Farina on Freedom Sworn, I get that 2 copies of Freedom Sworn's buff is not going to stack. But these are different weapons. They do different effects. But because Mihoyo chose to code them with the same label of Millennial Movement, you don't get the buff to the, you don't get the buff. What? Why? F you. That's really dumb. It's so stupid. So, yes. Anyways, Fab is better in this context because I have that, but that's really dumb. Also, I just noticed I just remembered I don't have an R5 Fab Warbow. Oh no, I do now. Okay. You know, actually, oh, I remember I didn't refine it because I was like, okay, maybe I need another one. But I think I will refine my Fab to R5 because now I have. I think I actually did. I get that? Yeah, I actually got that 6th Fab bow recently. So, anyways, look at that, an R5 Fab bow. What a world! Considering that bow is free, it's kind of and how much I have wasted wishes on the weapon banner, it's kind of insane that I haven't had R5 Fab bow. But anyways, I'll switch to that. I need to level it up probably to max, but that's gonna affect Farazon's personal damage contribution. But yeah, anyways. dumb, to say the least. Signatures, aesthetics are what makes people pull them, and it's the dumbest reason to pull 5-star weapons. I'm not gonna lie. And look, do it if you want to. If that's the reason you want to. More power to you, I guess. But you don't even see the weapon most of the time on a lot of characters. There's too much visual below. I hate that this gives you a red dot for the completion of dailies now. There's too much visual BS going on in your like general vision to notice in combat, in action, when you know what weapon you have on characters, and even on characters like say Hu Tao with Homa, where you know you see Homa because she's using it, doing normal attacks, whatever. But then you know other characters like Cloud Retainer, you're pulling Cloud Retainer's weapon just because it looks nice on her. The only time you see it is when you like click normal attack, and you see it like float right there, right? Like when you're normally just doing Cloud Retainer things, I'll let it disappear here. When you're normally just doing Cloud Retainer things, it doesn't appear, right? So there's characters where it literally never even shows up the normal way you use the character, right? I mean, you press E on Cloud Retainer and you switch off of her, and you know, if I do a plunge, I don't think it shows up. No, it does show up after a plunge, but again, you're not going to see it in action because you're going to be doing plunges constantly, right? Like, oh my god, I saw a frame of it in action. Like, ooh, that's a reason to pull for that visually. I need the green one. Well, not to mention, if you're seeing the catalyst on Cloud Retainer, you're DPSing her, and it's way worse for her own personal DPS. I guess unless you have probably high refinements. I imagine a higher refinement version of Cloud Retainer's weapon does compete with the Kagura's Verity, but I'm pretty sure high refinement Kagura's Verity is still better for DPS Cloud Retainer versus high refinement of her signature. So yeah, drip is cool and all. I agree, but that's not a reason to pull. But don't let me stop you. If you want to throw your wishes into the dumpster fire, that's the weapon banner, I guess. Only have R1 fast sword after 1,000 days of playing. Yep. Yay for gacha. They need to, in my opinion, they need to add Fav swords to the shop, or not Fav swords specifically, Fav weapons to the shop here. I think it would meaningfully improve the game. But they won't do that because that's the equivalent of giving anyone the best weapons in the game for free. And if they just easily let you have as many Favs as you want just by, you know, you do wishing you get the currency to buy Favs, then I think more players would realize Fav weapons are so good that you like barely even need other weapons half the time. So people would like never pull on weapon banner if Fab weapons were more easily available, and that would lose them money, and that's why they don't do that. But anyways, they should. All right, I think my stream's done. I've rambled on enough. Cloud Retainer, I love her. Great character, fantastic hit for me. But you know what she enables is doing plunge things with whatever you want to do, right? You can do plunge Bennett, plunge Farina, plunge every character in the game. You don't really have much reason to plunge with, you know, bow characters because, you know, they're always physical damage with plunges. But the point is, she enables new fun things that weren't possible before, and that's awesome. If you don't have any idea in mind for the things she enables, I can't recommend her. Right? She's not a character that I can possibly universally recommend. She's just a character whose value to you really depends on your preferences in Genshin. If you like having new options for playing around with new things in fun ways, I think she's fantastic. That's my basic thought. And yeah, and of course, exploration-wise, she's great as well. She's an important aspect to the conversation. All right, I think I'm done. I gotta take a break. Gotta finish editing. Check out my Candace plunge shenanigans video tomorrow. It's fun. It works better than you expect. It's I didn't show it in this stream, but it was good. I think it was it's probably the best way. Plunge DPS Candace was the best way to do DPS Candace if you don't have her constellations, in my opinion. If you have her C6, a burst DPS Candace on Emblem actually becomes useful in a lot more situations. But what I did not require her C6 by any means. So, and it was quite fun, and it took advantage of the fact that, you know, she was infusing herself, and she applied extra Hydro to get extra official things. It was an electrocharge team fundamentally, but it was fun, and yeah. That's all I got. Bye-bye. I didn't pick the dailies up. You're right, thank you for the reminder.
Add